Gaming news today is all about disappointment. The GTA 6 trailer 2 Troll by Rockstar turned out to be a big fat nothing. And then the PlayStation 6 release window has been revealed, and another big Xbox title has allegedly been delayed out of 2025, as well as we're hearing about more canceled live service games from Sony. But not to worry, I just uploaded my most anticipated games of 2025 video, and I actually had to trim down the video because there are so many big games coming out next year. So be sure to check out that upload. That sort of kicks off a lot of our days with when we're doing a live stream like this. We spend some time in morning coffee with the members, and then we all go watch my premiere together. So always be sure to check out those uploads first thing in the morning. It's a huge help to what we do here. It helps these live streams even get more and more folks in them. And as always, I end this opening segment with games for your wish list and your radar. So be sure to hit that like button if you are in the live audience. If you're watching this later, you can hit like, you can hit subscribe, you can join our channel. We just hit 50,000 subscribers, so a huge thank you to everybody who is involved in making that possible. And if you want to get involved directly and be a part of sort of the other side of the channel, the hidden part of the channel, make sure you hit the join button and become a paying member. It supports me directly. And be sure to pick Member Plus. It's the $6 membership, but it gets you into all of the extra content and out of the gifted pool. So let's just talk about what happened first and foremost. I mean, this was one of the biggest moments ever on my channel as we were all sitting around waiting for the GTA 6 trailer 2. I did a waiting room on Friday. It was 10 hours, and we had an absolute blast, okay? We had fun. Everybody that came in was super positive. We broke basically every record that my channel had, which was fun, and hitting 50,000 subs was fun. But it left a lot of fans understandably frustrated. And throughout the day, folks continued to come in and say, listen, just stop with these wild theories and rumors, and you won't end up so disappointed. And I have continued to defend the community, okay? I don't run with content based on images with the moon in the background or, 4chan or Reddit rumors, okay? This was something that Rockstar did. They got everybody's attention, and they continue to get everybody's attention about the 27th. They did things on Instagram. They did things with photos. They did things with the driver's license picture of a car. They were clearly trolling the community. And listen, I said it before and I'll say it again. This taught us something. We just should ignore Rockstar from here on out until they drop the trailer. If there are hints on Instagram, if they keep deleting posts on Instagram to keep themselves at 27, whether there's pictures or winks or nudges, listen, just ignore all of it. And I say this half seriously, but also half jokingly. Rockstar can't be trusted at this point, okay? Any and all future hints will likely just be more attempts to troll us or give us false trails or attempts to trick us, all right? Now, they may do an official announcement like they did for the first trailer. They may do that, and that's totally fine. I'm not saying ignore that. That will be an official announcement. But if they do any of these cutesy pie games on Instagram or they're, messing around with images and stuff like that, I say we just ignore that. They're just going to be trolling us and baiting us. And yes, we did have fun. I'm not upset. I'm not irritated with them. I know some fans are. But as I said when we went into that day, I opened up that waiting room stream and I said, if we get the trailer, we learn that they'll do more of this in the future. They'll do these fun hint drops, and breadcrumbs to lead us to something. If the trailer doesn't land, which it didn't, then we learned to not take any of their hints very seriously. They're likely just crying wolf. So now that we got that out of the way, that was pretty disappointing. Some people might be disappointed about this next bit of news as well. The PlayStation 6 release window has been spoken to. Now, up to now, I have speculated that the PlayStation 5 generation would last 1 or 2 years longer than typical, especially with the introduction of the PS5 Pro and PSSR. But recent remarks from Sony Interactive Entertainment and PlayStation Platform Experience Senior Vice President Hideaki Nishino, sorry, I really always struggle with this name. Nishino basically seems to indicate the exact opposite, and he was quoted by Zubitech on Twitter saying the following. We think that the PS5 will be around for a long time, just like the PS4. However, I don't think it's right to delay the release of the next product that incorporates new technology because it will be around for a long time. The timing of introducing new hardware is related to the timeline of technological evolution and the timeline for us to implement it. Therefore, I think it's important to provide new things while playing the ones that it currently is in operation, and to expand in total. Now, this is almost a direct refutation of my own theories about the PS5, but it does confirm something I've continued to predict about the PS5. It's actually going to last longer than previous gens. You can sense that in the way he's talking about it. They sense that the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 Pro, along with PSSR, will be extending the generation of this life. So, the good news is, if you didn't want to wait for the PS6, if you're like, man, it better not take longer to come to the market, they're not actually going to be doing that. It sounds like you're going to get your way. This also lines up with recent remarks from the co-CEO about how they can turn around technology like this in 3 to 5 years. All right, this is almost pointing to the fact that next gen will not be delayed at all. They're not going to be delaying it. It's going to show up on time, which many people will be glad to hear. And speaking of delays, it has been rumored and now it is alleged that State of Decay 3 has been delayed. Now, there were already rumors about a big Xbox title getting delayed out of 2025. Jeff Grubb thought it was Perfect Dark. I continue to say there was no evidence that Perfect Dark was even slated for 2025, as their first showcase was this year, and it looked to me like simulated gameplay and not real gameplay. Now, I continue to think that Fable is going to slip due to everything we've heard about it with respect to ambitions and various things like that. If they're going to be doing something that is as big and as promising as everybody is talking about, it very likely could slip out of 2025. But the current rumor now is that State of Decay 3 was previously aiming for 2025, but it's not aiming for 2025 anymore. GameRant reported that at the end of a recent podcast, Windows Central's Jez Corden indicated Microsoft let State of Decay 3 slip into 2026. He also said that, quote, "It's closer to being finished than you would think, but I think they are going to let that one slip." Now, given the increased cadence from Xbox in 2025, it would not surprise me at all if they start bumping bigger titles to ensure that they are ready, especially given how many Xbox insiders are now saying that exclusivity is dead and that all titles are coming day and date, or at the very least, staggered to PlayStation like Indiana Jones. Now, if Xbox wants their publishing efforts to succeed, letting bigger or more ambitious titles cook for longer and prepare for a PS5 launch is a sensible choice, especially when you already have South of Midnight, Avowed, Doom the Dark Ages, Fable, and The Outer Worlds 2 all confirmed for 2025. That's a pretty heavy lineup. PlayStation's been consistently slow with their first-party titles and studios, and they've been padding out their calendar with second and third-party games. Now that Xbox has a very good cadence going into 2025, they may start doing the same thing and staggering games that they feel will be bigger or maybe even better with multi-plat releases day and date. So that was not one that I expected to see in 2025. However, they announced it a long time ago, so I would understand people being disappointed that it's once again not showing up. But if they've got time to make these games better and they already have a full calendar, I will celebrate that. I've continued to say people need to stop fixating on first party versus third party. If you're getting a steady cadence of games, whether they're first, second, or third party, that's what matters. What doesn't matter is, well, just rush the game out or push the game out just for the sake of having it on the calendar. We've seen what that's done to games when they come out and they're not ready, with games like Jedi Survivor, with games like Redfall, with games like Forza Motorsport. I mean, we've seen a very, very steady cadence of games that come out just to hit their release date, and then they have to spend months and even sometimes a whole year afterward trying to fix the game. Now, speaking of canceled games or delayed games, there are apparently more canceled live service games from Sony. Now, this will be disappointing news to some, but welcome news to others. I'm pulling this from GamePost.com. A Sony-owned studio, Firesprite, had a leak which revealed a canceled Unreal 5 post-apocalyptic live service game and a sci-fi battle royale concept game as well. There were reports earlier this year that the studio was having internal issues with toxic work culture, mismanagement, and lots of high-level staff exits. We also heard that a live service, Twisted Metal, was canceled earlier this year, which is strange because according to this leak, another post-apocalyptic live service game was also canceled. An artist leaked a bunch of weapon concepts and said that ultimately Sony had canceled the planned live free-to-play live service game. The other title was a bit more visually vibrant. It was a sci-fi free-to-play battle royale game. Now, it allegedly went through stylistic changes, and then they transferred it to another developer because the IP was actually sold. So we'll see if this sci-fi battle royale ever makes it to market. Now, this could obviously mean a handful of things. You're like, well, why do you have Concord running in the background? Well, this could mean that Firesprite had too many irons in the fire, and in the wake of layoffs, they had to trim their projects down. But it could also mean that Sony's being more careful about their approach to live service games after what happened in 2024. Helldivers has been massively popular and won awards, and then Concord was the biggest flop of the year and honestly the biggest flop in recent memory. They literally shut the game down and gave people refunds. I don't know if I've ever seen that before, but those hoping that PlayStation bails on their live service aspirations may want to take these canceled projects as welcome news. But recent reports clearly indicate that Sony, along with many other publishers, are still trying to figure out how to navigate and capitalize on the ongoing format within gaming. Now, my hope is that they lean away from PvP games like Concord, because it did so poorly, especially when you're going to be charging money for them. I do not have high hopes for the success of Marathon or Fair Games. I would like them to lean more into PvE style games that don't require you to play them like a job, but they also don't require this sort of gotta keep the player funnel mentality, because devs then end up making a game that doesn't last or does things that we don't like. I remember somebody saying they didn't care about the player counts in Concord. They were having a fun time, and I thought to myself, you better care about the player counts, because if nobody's playing, then neither will you. Well, that's where things ended up. We'll see what the future of PlayStation Live Service games ends up looking like, as a couple have just gotten canceled over there at Firesprite. Now I've got games for your wish list and your radar, and this first one, I had to go to Steam. They actually don't have a trailer on YouTube, so I hope this crops appropriately. It's called Gun Touchables. Somebody put this on my radar in the Discord over the weekend, I believe. It's described as an online co-op doomsday roguelite for 1 to 4 players. You play as a gun-toting group of preppers trying to reclaim the world from an ever-evolving horde of mutants, constantly working to develop new, unique ways to kill you. Now, this comes from GameSwing. They've got a couple of games. One did well, one not so well, but this one's being published by Ghost Ship Publishing. This is the publisher that backed games like Deep Rock Galactic, Spell Rogue, and Deep Rock Galactic Survivors. Gun Touchables can be wishlisted right now on Steam. It has no release window, but it looks like a fun romp if you're looking for something to play with your friends. And if you're looking for something to play with your friends, look no further than Space Marine 2. I want to put this one back on your radar one more time, because my wife and I found this as like the perfect casual couch co-op game. We might actually just replay through the story, because I was so far in the story, she joined me for maybe like the last 2 or 3 missions. But we rolled credits, and not only does this game look just absolutely incredible on the PS5 Pro, but my wife and I, after rolling credits, started the operations content. Now, it is a bit more challenging than the main game content. They restrict your weapons and classes and abilities, so you end up feeling a little bit weakened to make it a little bit more challenging. Now, the grind has been enjoyable so far. You can unlock better skills, and you power up through basically a skill tree. Guns have their own skill trees as well, things you can do there. It features a significant amount of customization for how your player looks. You might notice in this trailer, some of the people look very different than how you look in the campaign. I actually wish that some of that customization was present in the campaign, but Space Marine 2 has a surprisingly well-built ongoing gameplay loop with operations. Now, I'll report back on if we're still enjoying it or if we're having a good time. We are playing it at the lowest threat level, which is minimal, and it is tough, especially because Right now, we keep getting match made with experienced players. They run ahead. They don't really care about looting and looking for things. We're obviously looking for the things you can find, as well as ammo and armor boosts and things like that that help with your survivability. But the more experienced players don't do that, and what can happen is they get ahead and they will trigger a wave, and the wave will spawn like right behind you, which can be pretty frustrating. It happened to us a couple of times last night, and it can lead to undue frustration. So if you're a member on my channel, make sure you're in the Discord. I may start pinging the Discord server around 9 or 10 p.m. in the evening, looking for that third player to play some Space Marine 2 with me and my wife. I'm telling you, if you're looking for a fun game to grind on going with your buds, Space Marine 2 has just continued to surprise me as just such a great co-op experience. I did not expect this to be the game that my wife and I would end up enjoying to the degree that we are. Now, I got one more. I always like to give you guys 3 games, and this is a little bit of a different one. This one's called Mother Machine. In this game, they tell you can climb, jump, and explore alien caves full of emergent surprises in this 1 to 4 player co-op action RPG platformer. You customize your cute chaos gremlin with a never-ending appetite for adventure and mayhem. You unlock a vast range of mutations to choose your preferred playstyle and role in your group. Now, this one is due out in March for Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation. It will feature both local and online co-op. The art style and gameplay honestly looks whimsical, gross, and fun. The idea of like mutating your character and, you know, basically treating it more like an RPG where you go through, level up, and get stuff could be, I think, a very, very fun couch co-op romp, but it also features online as well. So, a little bit of a recap for you. The GTA 6 trailer 2 troll by Rockstar. Well, it turned out to be nothing on Friday, and we had a big day, but a lot of people were upset. I covered that in the show open this morning. The PlayStation 6 release window has been revealed, and it's going to be on time. It's not going to be pushed back, even though the PS5 does seem to be going to be lasting longer than many anticipated. But that won't push back the PS6. That was some welcome news for folks who were worried about that. There was a big Xbox title that's allegedly being delayed out of 2025, State of Decay 3. And more canceled live service games from Sony. And then don't forget, I uploaded my top games of 2025. It's 5 games that I'm kind of like, okay, these look great, but then my top 5, it's 10 total, is must plays. So be sure to check out that video. It is live on the channel right now. And those uploads, every day, you pile on those uploads and leave a comment, you might get featured in this live stream. So that's the news. Now it's time for the discussion. Guys, go through that ritual of smashing the like button. We could easily jump up to 200 likes right now. You guys went crazy the other day, and it really helped out that GTA 6 trailer 2 waiting room. So thank you for everybody who made that day insane. Now we're saying Rockstar is a troll. I firmly believe they trolled. I do. I stand on the side of the community on this one. I do. They trolled us. They were fiddling around and being goofy on their Instagram to act like they weren't. I think it's a little disingenuous. They were 100% trolling the community. I'm not upset, but I think it's fair to say they knew what they were doing. This wasn't like a look at the moon, you know, oh, look at the moon. You know, this is the 4th cycle of the moon on the 10th day of the month. No. That's not what happened. So let me pull up the goal. Now this week, you guys have already unlocked Community Game Day. We're going to play Jackbox on Friday with Hilly. So this week's goal is just to unlock Friday night with my wife. And you guys are already well on your way. Sorcerer renews that VIP. And then Han shot first, and so did you. DK Bager with a single gifted, and then Joker Quinn with a single gifted. All 3 of those combined to start the week nice with 3. And then a VIP from Tyler Johnson, 41 months of membership. It says, love the content. Congrats on 50K. Thank you so much for everybody who's been a part of this journey on this channel. We have only been streaming on this channel for 3 years, and we hit a big milestone that we really wanted to hit this year. Now we've got our sights set on 100K. Can you clarify how you co-op Space Marine? Well, basically what it does in operations is you replay missions from the campaign. I've recognized the 2 missions we've already played, but they're significantly more challenging because you have to pick a class. You pick like tank or tactical or assault or something like that. When you pick that, It limits the weapons you can use. It limits whether or not you have melee. It limits how much armor you have. And each of those classes have skill trees. The guns have skill trees. You can customize almost every piece of your armor with currency that you get from grinding the operations. So it's a 3-player co-op experience, and the more you do it, the more you grind, the more you unlock, the stronger you get. I think that's one of the reasons why we keep getting match made with players that just charge ahead, because they're like, man, I've been doing this, I've been playing this. We're like checking every corner and opening boxes and stuff. Predator with a VIB says, congrats, bro, 100K, let's go. Thank you. Oh, shoot, I forgot to set the goal. We've been doing every 5 super chats, I will gift 5 members. Sorry, purple super chat's not going to count towards it, but it's ready now. Until you prove otherwise, I stand on the side of Lono jinxing it. Feelings matter. Purple, I didn't jinx anything. I did not jinx the GTA 6 trailer 2. I didn't jinx it, man. There ain't no way. There's no way. We had a fun time. I really do. I really do think we had a fun time. Everybody was hanging out and being positive. I mean, I know, listen, people are understandably upset, and I think that that's fair, right? I think that that's fair. But I think people need to remember that whenever you're going off of like a troll or like breadcrumbs on Instagram, you got to be prepared for it to be a nothing burger, right? This wasn't looking at pictures and saying, oh, well, the axis of the planet and the moon and the angle of the building and the shadows. That's not what this was, okay? This was clearly something that Rockstar was doing. But you've just got to know that when they're doing something like that, it might end up being nothing. It really might. You can play with a bot with Madam and yourself. The bots are actually decent. Wait, you can play operations with the bot? I can limit it? I didn't even know that was possible. As soon as we went into the mode, it just kept putting somebody in there with us. And I thought, oh, no worries. Let's go. Let's see how this goes. And the 2 times we played now, I mean, they just charge ahead. And the one time they triggered a wave, and Madam's like, I'm stuck. I'm like, what do you mean I'm stuck? I looked at her TV. She was surrounded. It had spawned the enemies like on top of her, because they're supposed to be like coming from behind us and like jumping down. So she was like stuck up there. We couldn't get to her because I had like just dropped down. I was like, oh, come on. He just triggered the wave. So I jumped down, and all of a sudden she was surrounded. Oh, you just make it private. Oh, and it'll put a bot in there. Okay, I'll try that. I mean, if there's members of this community that want to play with us, I would welcome that as long as you know, not to charge ahead. That's a Clash shirt. Thank you. Bots are better than randoms. Oh, I bet they are. I bet they are. When her and I played through the campaign, it felt like it was easier than operations. Lone Wolf says, I don't know, the minute you include adding numbers together to get to a number being a hint in order to argue your point, I'm not going to put stock in it. Yeah, but that was well after the fact, Lone Wolf. That was well after the fact. That was like the guys posted their pictures on Instagram. Rockstar kept limiting their posts to 27. Then the car's license plate showed up. Then people were looking at the sales of the items. That all came after. That's why I think they were trolling us. I think they saw it getting traction and they just leaned in, right? This guy says, congrats on 50K. My second most anticipated game is Yote and Death Stranding. Thanks. Great list. That's a great list. You keep your list short, you ain't going to be disappointed. You know what I'm saying? Set your sights on just a couple of big games. Purple Haze says, wait, where's Reanimal? My top 5 starting with number 1, Reanimal, South of Midnight, MIO, Memories in Orbit, The Midnight Walk, and Bendy the Cage. LOL, we are very different. We're very different, Purple. Your list is very different than mine, and that's why we got to have you on the show. We're trying to think of a day and time in the week, something like, I'm just going to throw this out there. This is just a total random idea, but like we'll call it Thursday Throwdown. And like every Thursday at this time, I let people come in and I'll say, hey, for this week's Thursday Throwdown at the end of the gaming news segment, we're going to bring on Purple Haze and we're going to talk about whatever. Right? We're thinking of doing something like that. You almost like brand it, you name it, it's got a designated time, and I just throw out feelers like, hey, who wants to come on this week? people like you, Doc Dark, others that are mutuals, 30 and So Gaming, stuff like that. So they could come on, I can showcase you, tell people to check out your content, and then we can have a great discussion. So that's how we're brainstorming, because I know I said I wanted to have you on and you were like open to it, and nothing, we haven't done anything with it. So we're brainstorming that right now. We're kind of shopping that for the new year. Mash left a comment and said, cool list. Personally looking forward to Doom, GTA 6, Ghost of Yotei, Fable, and Mafia. That's a killer list. I did not expect Mafia to be on my list. Turok isn't slated for 2025. I don't think Turok's slated for 2025, TJ Rage. I don't think we have Turok Origins release date. They didn't say anything in the trailer. People are saying 2025. No, the release date on Steam says to be announced. I don't think did the reveal trailer say anything about a release? I don't think it did. No, it just says wish list now. Yeah, I don't do that. I don't put games on a list for 2025 if the devs haven't said anything that's not in the trailer. So when they don't put it in their trailer, I'm not putting it in my video, because I don't want to make people think it's coming if it's not. Guys, really quickly, go through the ritual. Smash that like button as soon as you get in here. It really helps us out. Let's get ourselves to 200 likes. It's Fortnite pretending to be Turok. Oh, don't do that super judgmental thing off of like almost no footage. I thought it looked great. I thought it looked fun. Patrick Hugh says, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has me unreasonably excited, given that I hadn't played the original and didn't expect a sequel until this year. Going to build a new PC if I have to. There's no world in which I skip this game. Thank you, bro, to Stonespire here saying, my top 10's Avowed, Outer Worlds 2, Ghost of Yotei, AC Black Flag Remake, Fable, GTA 6, Oblivion Remaster, Expedition 33, AC Shadows, and Borderlands 4. It was a very good list. Rockstar marketing is undefeated. I mean, right, Mr. Chosen? Like, I can't be the only one that thinks that Rockstar Games was trolling us. Like, not in a mean way. I don't think it was, like, malicious. But come on, man. It said 27, but it was actually 28. Even now, it still says 27, but it's actually 28. Right, but you have to understand something, Lone Wolf. They're concerned about the number at the top, because they deleted a post the morning that happened, and it dropped to 26, and then it bounced to 27. So there's some kind of a ghost in the machine. I don't think Rockstar, whoever was doing it, is like literally counting the images. I think they're looking and saying, hey, let's keep this at 20. Wait, we should be at 5 for the day, shouldn't we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I didn't add Predators to 5. That's what Mash is doing. A 20 bomb from Mash to kick off the week, and he gets us to our first 25 of the week. Thank you so much, Mash. In 18 months, he says, Mash says, remember to hit the like button. Thank you, Mash. We're going to be celebrating 50K all week long. That's what we're going to be doing. You see what I'm saying, Lone Wolf? Like, I get what you're saying, but I think they started doing it literally because they noticed people were latching on to 27. I think maybe we're passing in the night. I don't think this initially was a plan where they were like, let's troll the community. I think they saw the community latch on to 27, and they were like, oh, we can totally mess with them. Does that make sense? I don't think it was like some concocted plan on a dry erase board somewhere where they were like, yo, let's get them. I think it was like, oh my gosh, this would be so funny. Let's mess with them. Let's keep the post count on Instagram to 27. You know, they had it added up on the license plate, and then they blurred it out when they posted it on Instagram, which made everybody go, why'd they blur it out? I don't know, dude. The number 27 can't mathematically show up that many times unless you're intentionally trying to get it to show up that many times, if that makes sense. You don't think so? I mean, it's, to me, there's too many coincidences for it to not be a coincidence. There's too many coincidences, for it not to be something at some level manufactured. They were, I think, again, they were messing with us because they saw people responding to it. 2025 is Pac. Says Pac-Man on a bike. Yote's my number one. Kat says, can't wait for Yote. Same. Death Stranding 2 is my most anticipated game, says Silent Spartan. Kojima's world and characters are really second to none. It's so true. His games are captivating even if you don't play them. Just from afar, you watch the trailers and you're like, my gosh, what's going on? What do the different color logos mean? How long you remember? Yes, Daz Sweets. Yeah, I believe gold is... I want to say gold is a year, and then red is 2 years, and then 3 years is like the green. It changes how long you are. Joker Quinn says, my top 5 are Borderlands 4. My most anticipated is Yote, Doom, Mafia, and Intergalactic. Not sure about Intergalactic next year. I'm not sure about that one. In no particular order, GTA 6. GTA 6 was not at the top of my list, right? It landed at number 6. Again, not because I was being cute. That's just where it landed. But it landed at number 6 because it may grow on me and become one of my top 5 games from next year. But it's just not my style of game, typically. Now, that could change, obviously. I tried GTA 5, and I was like, yeah, this is just not my kind of game, right? Where are the green joysticks? I'm not sure what you mean. Where's my coffee ad? Oh, yeah. Guys, before the year is up, take advantage of the fact that our holiday blend is the cheapest it's ever been, and our bundles are the cheapest it's ever been. If you've never tried coffee with balanced acidity, head to reforgeroast.com. It's linked in the description below. You can also use the coffee command. Legend status is in no particular order. GTA 6, Ghost of Yote, and Intergalactic are my most anticipated games for 2025. Banger year ahead. Be careful with Intergalactic. Intergalactic. Not sure it comes in 2025. I don't know about that. I'd love it to come out next year, but I don't know. People might be jumping ahead of themselves. Figuring Naughty Dog pattern of announcements and release date relation. Wait, Lance, you think Intergalactic's at its earliest probably holiday season 2026? Oh, you're saying, yeah, you're agreeing with me, right? Yeah, I don't know about that. I continue to think that's just an announcement trailer. That's just like a, hey, we're making this. That's not a, oh, it's coming out next year. So I'd be very, very careful with that one. P. Dudley says, am I the only one here excited for the Elden Ring roguelike? I mean, I'm interested in it. It'd be fun to play with you guys, you know. It would also be, I think, it'll be interesting to see what the response is to it, especially considering they're like, you can only play with 1 or 3 players. Like, you can't play with 2. I'm wondering if that's going to make it awkward for some people. It's like a lot of people play games with a buddy, not like 2 buddies, right? That's typically not something that we see. A lot of the times, like, I think people I thought I saw somebody saying something about that with like Space Marine. I remember before Space Marine 2 came out, people were like, well, why isn't it 4 players or 2? What, 3? And they just landed on 3 because they felt like it was like the most balanced. They were probably also balancing things around operations, because when you play operations, it's like it limits your, classes. Like, you can't have 2 people running tanks. Rogues are usually kind of tough at the beginning. The Elden Ring rogue is going to make adults cry. Yeah, they're usually really punishing, for sure. Turok and Witcher won't be next year, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be next year. Yeah, Sorcerer's got AC, the Black Flag remake, and Shadows, then Death Stranding, Outer Worlds. Yeah, you've got Witcher and Turok, no way. Borderlands 4, Split Fiction, Ghosts of Yote, GTA 6. See, this is why I love lists like this, because I couldn't include everything. I wanted to put Split Fiction on my list, but I was like, dude, I'm going to end up with a video with like 20 dadgum games in it. That's too many. That's way too many. What game was the Game Award? Yeah, that was Intergalactic, Gaza. Or Gaza. How do I say your name? Is it It's probably Gaza because you have 2 Z's. Yeah, it was Intergalactic. If you guys haven't hit the like button yet, make sure you've done that. Let's get 23 more. Let's hit 200 really quickly. I've only been live for like 30 minutes. You guys are crushing it. Good, space out the greatness. That's what I'm saying, Anthony. There's so many games. Like, The rumor was that like South of Midnight was going to get a release trailer and it was coming in March. And I was like, no, it's not. Like, there's no way. February and March are so full. Insider Gaming is reporting, and this is relevance to what we covered today, PlayStation is going to continue focusing on live service games. PlayStation is not giving up on live service games anytime. Famitsu interview with Herman Holst says the game business is constantly changing due to various factors, including technological advances, new genres, ways of playing. However, this is all done through auto translation. One thing that remains constant is people's desire for great entertainment experiences and attention to games continues to grow. However, this has also created competition, and like many companies in the industry, we have had to make changes to our business to solidify a more sustainable operating base. They will continue focusing on developing live service titles along with story-driven single-player titles that our players want. Here we go. We're learning a lot as we establish the ability to develop high-quality live service titles within SIE. Helldivers 2 attracted many players through continuous content provision and achieved results that support the potential of live service titles. I wonder if what he's saying here, like, I don't know. We're learning a lot, right? And then he points to Helldivers 2. Like, that to me says... That again to me says they're learning that might be a better path than what they tried with Concord, right? Like what they tried with Concord, I don't know. I just continue to think that was a pretty rough lesson that they learned. They were in my opinion, they were sold a bill of goods. They were convinced that game was something that it wasn't. I believe that. I really truly believe that. They were told they had some kind of a banger, super popular PvP game, and no, it was not. Look at Into the AM right on the page. Oh, was there an Into the AM ad on their page? Yeah. That happens a lot whenever I'm browsing, because I go to their website. Yeah. If you guys are just tuning in, we're talking about all the various gaming news things that happened. The GTA 6 trailer 2 Troll that took place on the 27th. We had a insane waiting room for it, and it never showed up. We're talking about all the various games coming out next year and what we're looking forward to. People are putting their lists on my latest upload. Go check my latest upload. It's the most anticipated games of 2025. Put your list on there or put them in chat right now. We want to know. Lone Wolf says Avowed is his number 1. Then Elden Ring, Night Rain, Borderlands 4, Outer Worlds 2, the Black Flag Remake, Monhunt Wilds, Killing Floor 2, Expedition 33, Crimson Desert, AC Shadows. Do you guys see why I had to limit myself to 10? You know what I mean? I could have put Outer Worlds 2 and Crimson Desert on there and Split Fiction. I was going to end up with 25 games. They said they're going to remake Max Payne by Remedy, but what's going on over there? Yeah, I'm not sure. When did they say they were going to remake Max Payne? I don't remember ever seeing that. Make sure as you guys come in, welcome in. Make sure you hit the like button once you get in here and say hello in the chat. MTO left a comment on my most anticipated games video, and he says, don't sleep on indie titles. Tales of Iron 2, Ender Magnolia, Dispatch. Think indie titles are going to be really good this year. Agreed. Tales of Iron 2 looks great. I can't remember. Did they do any kind of co-op in Tales of Iron? I can't remember. This stinking keyboard, I can't get it to sit flat. There's like too much underneath of it. So I go to type and it's like an utter disaster. Let me try and put my eraser under here. Oh, there we go. That'll hold it. I like go to type and the whole keyboard goes wonky on me. Rockstar gave Remedy the rights to remake Max Payne 1 and 2 a few years back. Oh, I didn't know that. Max Payne plays best on mouse and keyboard, so I'll be playing it on PC. I don't remember where I played Max Payne back in the day. That feels like forever ago. I can't remember. I remember playing the first one at least, like jumping through doorways and doing the slow-mo. You ever play Alan Wake 2? They tease Max Payne in the game. Yeah, Alan Wake 2 is another game on my backlog that I just can't get to. I need longer play sessions to enjoy that. And Gambit Zero gifts 5 members and propels us forward to 30. That's a 20 bomb away from the next milestone of 50, where I would owe you guys 5 more members. That's a pretty good setup, Gambit. Thank you for doing that. We need some folks to start competing with our big gifter and take some of the glory from him. And there's our first super chat. Well, it's our second super chat. It's the first one on the goal of the day. Duff with the $5 super chat. Sony tried to copy the music industry with the shotgun approach, but every pellet cost over $100 million. Maybe they should target smaller devs next. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it from a completely different perspective. I thought they were going to be doing what you're saying, backing smaller devs, smaller projects for live service. There's a lot of mud in the water with Concord because they procured a bunch of funding outside of Sony's publishing efforts. Everybody ran with the headline that like Sony lost like $200 million. That money didn't come from Sony. They got $200 million in funding before they were going to be publishing through Sony. And after they even got acquired by Sony, they went and got more funding. So, like, Sony didn't write a check for $200 million for Concord. That all came from other sources. We're not even sure what the fallout from that's going to be. Like, what are those investors going to say and do with what, you know, after what happened? And what's Firewalk going to do? Like, do they have to answer to those investors? Because the money wasn't just for Concord either. That was another thing that really a lot of people got confused about. It was that money was for all sorts of various projects. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen next with Firewalk, but I think PlayStation should be backing smaller PvE live service things. I think the PvP stuff's just a waste of time. I really do. I think you're just going to get crushed by the player funnel never really getting big enough, and especially because they want to charge money. You're going up against Leviathan live service games that are free. So you're setting yourself up for failure in 2 different ways. You're like, well, not only are we not nearly as big as, you know, Fortnite and Call of Duty Warzone and Apex and PUBG, and now you got Marvel Rivals exploding. I mean, they're all free. So not only are they big, they're free, and you're going to be small and charge money. I don't know. Seems like a fool's errand. Firewalk got closed. Firewalk got closed? They shut the studio down? When did we cover that? Am I losing my mind? They closed Firewalk in October. Oh, that's right. Didn't they say we were waiting on that? I don't think we did a video on that. We did a video on the game flopping, but are they going to absorb the people? Sony is closing. That was in October. I forgot that we covered that. I think we were waiting to see. I assumed there was going to be a follow-up story where we were going to see how many people got absorbed into SIE. I would assume you would try to absorb some of them. I forgot that they just absolutely shut them down. We covered the flop of the game, and I always assumed they would grab some of the top talent and bring them in. Like, that's what they're doing to Bungie. They just seem to be, like, absorbing Bungie almost through osmosis. It's like you're just close enough. They're just like slinking over into SIE. Yeah, they closed them. It was late October. That was not. Oh, no, I remember now. I remember them announcing that. That was Herman Hulst that announced that. Did he not in a blog? Was it Herman Hulst or was it just SIE? I think it was Herman Hulst, I thought. Or there was an internal memo about it that maybe I heard or saw, and then we saw the public one. That's right. I remember now. I remember because Schreier or somebody tweeted about it right before it went public. Now I remember. I'm like, man, it's all such a blur. So much happened this year. So I'm not even sure where all those people ended up. You had a lot of industry veterans at Firewalk. I'm surprised that we haven't heard about them landing at other studios within PlayStation or something. Yeah, they closed Neon Koi and Firewalk. That's right. That was when they said that Concord would never be coming back. That's right. Because when they shut down the game and gave people refunds, was that the time where it seemed like there still was a chance that it would come back? And then they made this formal announcement. And as announced in early September, right. they would be shutting it down or whatever, but then they basically said it's fully sunset. Yep, okay, I remember that now. I think we focused on the fact that, at least what I focused on the fact was that they sunset the game and it's never coming back. Because people thought, oh no, it has a chance. And I thought, you'd have to completely rebuild. You'd have to completely rebuild the game as a PvE game in my mind. Wasn't it Jim Ryan who visited and took photos? I believe that was Herman Holst, wasn't it? They were too expensive to keep open. We knew that would happen. To keep the studio alone, it was over $1 million a month. Jiminy Christmas. That is a top-heavy studio if I've ever heard of. Man, oh man, they weren't even that big. They did that. I think we were waiting to cover the shutdown because I thought they were going to come out and announce it like, okay, these people landed here and these people landed there. It's possible, related to what Dark Taco is saying, is they were just too expensive. It's like, we can't afford any of you. You guys all want salaries that are through the stinking roof. Michael Morden let the comment on my video. Yote's my most anticipated next year. Everything else is gravy. That is a lot of gravy. There's a lot of games coming next year, bro. Getting a release date for Light No Fire is what I anticipate most. That would be dope. I don't know if you're going to get one, though, man. They didn't show up to the Game Awards, and a lot of us thought they were going to be there. Louis Love says, I'm PS5, PC, and made my anticipated games list. I've never been so thankful for how Xbox exclusives are saving me time and money, at least for a while. I'm not sure what you're saying, Louis. I'm PS5, PC, and made my anticipated list. I've never been so thankful. So are you talking about all the games coming over from Xbox? Chris Davies says, with games like Avowed, Doom, Mafia, Outer Worlds 2, Crimson Desert, Gears of War E-Day has not been confirmed, by the way. I don't know why people keep running with that one. South of Midnight, Fable, Dragon's Quest 1-2 Remake, Death Stranding 2, Slay the Spire 2, Sinking City 2. It's going to be a stacked year. Huge year. I've not seen Gears announced for 2025, though. Yeah, the Xbox guys do this a lot. They start making lists, and they just throw in every game that's been announced. They've done this every year. I'm like, y'all need to chill. They have not said. Gears of War E-Day did not say 2025. Gears of War E-Day release date. Have they indicated anything anywhere? There are articles saying that they expect it then, but if you go to the actual trailer, yeah, there's no release window, there's no date, there's nothing at the end, there's nothing in the description. People have really got to be careful with that. They've done that. A lot of these guys on Twitter do this every year. They create these lists and they throw in games just because they've been announced. There were guys that said Fable was coming this year. There were guys that said Hellblade 2 is coming last year. Y'all need to stop doing that. They've announced plenty of games. You don't need to add any more. You've got to chill on that. All you're going to do is get upset and claim that, a bunch of games got delayed again. And it's like, no, they didn't. They didn't say these games were coming. Abdul says, my most anticipated games are Ghost of Yote, Lost Soul Aside, Switch 2, South of Midnight, Mafia. That is a solid list. That's a solid list. GTA 6 is like Moneybag. They released that. Rockstar could get free money. Well, I think they're definitely wanting to be careful with it, though, Andrew Gaming, because it's certainly a game where the expectations for GTA 6 are through the roof, and if it comes out and it's glitchy, buggy, or doesn't perform well, that could be a pretty quick death sentence because of how high expectations are. You'd have a lot of people just be like, are you kidding me? We waited all this time for this. Like, that's why it's such a big title. It certainly could get delayed. It could. Everybody that's talked about it says that the probability of it getting delayed is very high. You know? Do you think Helldivers got snubbed at the Game Awards? No. They got awards. They got 2, didn't they? Helldivers 2 Game Awards. Didn't they get 2? They got best multiplayer game, and did they win one? They got multiplayer and ongoing, did they not? They got best ongoing? I thought they got 2. I could be wrong. No, yeah, they got multiplayer and ongoing. They didn't get snubbed. In what way did you feel that Helldivers 2 got snubbed at the Game Awards? I don't think anybody got snubbed. I think everybody got what they were supposed to get. As you guys are tuning in, man, thanks for the strong tune in here on Monday. I do a daily talk show like this Monday through Friday. We're talking about it all. A lot of you guys tuned in, maybe for the first time ever on Friday, for that GTA 6 Trailer 2 waiting room. I put a little clown emoji on the thumbnail today. We all got clowned. They trolled us. I thought they all just got one, my B. Yeah, they got the 2. I think those were probably 2 of the most meaningful ones. And this is just my opinion, obviously. You can think differently, but I think those were probably 2 of the most important awards for Helldivers 2 to win, ongoing and multiplayer. They were up against some big titles in those categories. You know what I mean? It was rigged. Astro did not deserve to win like that. I think when everybody claims it's rigged just because your game didn't win, my advice to you would be just don't watch then. Why watch an award ceremony that it's rigged as soon as you don't get the results that you want? It seems like you're not watching it to find out what's the actual winners and how did the voting actually go. You're just wanting your thoughts to be affirmed. Like, does that make sense? You can think that they got it wrong. You can think that something got snubbed, but claiming something is rigged is ridiculous. Especially in light of how everybody responded to Astrobot. The trailer had everybody going, are you kidding me? That looks awesome. The previews, everyone was like, this is a Game of the Year contender. The reviews, it's the highest reviewed Game of the Year. It stands to reason that the right game won. It's just basic math, isn't it? I don't see how, Astro. That's just me. This is the danger of what you're doing. Your opinion is legitimate. You can play a game and say, this is the lamest, most boringest, most silly game ever. I don't like this. That's fine. That's completely legitimate. What isn't legitimate is looking at the highest reviewed game of the year and being like, oh, this is totally rigged. Like, no one called rigged when the game that was ranked 117th on OpenCritic got nominated for Game of the Year. Black Myth won. See, that's what's funny to me is everybody crying rigged. The game that you all cheer for shouldn't have even been up there according to its score from the press. Like, that's what feels rigged to me. Like, listen, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not calling foul play. But if I was putting chips on the table and someone's like, place your bets, folks, which game was included that maybe shouldn't have been? I would pick the game that was 117th on OpenCritic, getting a Game of the Year nomination. That's the grand, super thick as butter irony with everybody claiming that it was rigged because Astrobot won. You don't have awareness of the situation. You just don't. I've never seen a game with that low of a rank suddenly have the gaming press say, oh, we should nominate it for Game of the Year. And then to get upset and to cry and to claim it's rigged when the top reviewed Game of the Year won. Like, maybe, just maybe, not everybody sees it as you do. It's not rigged. It's very possible that people don't see the world the way that you do. You loved Wukong. You thought Astrobot looked stupid. That's fine. That's totally fine. But to claim some sort of malfeasance or, oh, it was rigged, when the game you're cheering for shouldn't even been up there. You should have been honored to get the nomination. Like, for real. We went back and checked, brothers. That was unprecedented that Wukong got nominated. It was unprecedented to be in 117th place. Like, a game with performance issues at launch, a fairly linear design structure, largely considered by many to just be a boss rush game. It's a good game. It's got high quality art style. It's got well-designed combat. But good golly, people acted that that game came from heaven itself. It's like, we've had high quality games like this every year. I mean, Lies of P was a very, very high level art style, very good combat system, very, very good game. And nobody acted like it was some sort of descended from on high, delivered by the angels video game. Like, Wukong was not nearly what everybody has claimed that it is. It's just not. Astrobot also won because it's mixed with the most franchises of PlayStation. That's not why it won. I mean, people nominated it because they liked it. It's that simple. It's that simple. When everybody is giving a game high marks, and it is the top-rated game of the year, and it wins Game of the Year, there's no confusion here. There just isn't. You don't have to like it or agree with it, but there's no confusion. There's no claim of rigged at all. You could say the same for Astrobot. It's a very basic platformer, but people like it. Right, but it's not about being basic. It's about taking everything in the package in consideration. Like, Wukong landed at a time when we've had a lot of games like that. Astrobot struck at just the right time. There was no Nintendo presence this year. They're taking a lighter year approach. Not surprising. We know what's coming next year, the Switch 2. Okay? There'll probably be 1 or 2 Nintendo games up on the podium next year. Write it down. There probably will be. Okay? Because they didn't take the year off. They were great games for Nintendo this year, but they weren't like the big bangers that we typically see, like Breath of the Wild. Okay? So there was an absence of Nintendo presence. There was an absence of a game like that for a really, really long time. We haven't had a game like Astrobot at the quality that Astrobot delivered in a really, really long time. How many games like Wukong are going to come out in close succession? I think that was literally, go read the reviews. That was one of the reasons that Lies of P didn't score well with the press. Lies of P has a great score from the user base, but the press was a little bit more tepid to it. Do you want to know why? A lot of games like that have been coming out. And when everybody's making some kind of a Souls-like melee-based game, don't expect the press to be over the moon about having to play their 17th Souls game in the last 11 months. Like, I'm telling you, that plays a factor. It does. Whether you want to admit it or not, it plays a factor. This is the guy who thinks Veilguard's Game of the Year. Are you just coming in to lie about me? I never said Veilguard was Game of the Year. I put it down and was highly critical of the combat in the late stages and highly critical of the writing. If all you're going to do is lie, you can just take the ban and save us all the trouble. I never once said that Veilguard's Game of the Year. You're saying I'm biased. Well, at least I'm not a liar. A $5 super chat from Blake. Are you going to play Kingdom Come Deliverance 2? Yes, I am. The way they market their stuff, a lot of these top AAA games could learn from them, plus they're releasing a week early. They originally said it was going to be $30. It's $60. It's going to be PS5 Pro Enhanced, and the IGN preview said the combat feels even better and more approachable, so I'm going to check it out. It could be kind of like Claire Obscure Expedition 33 might get me into turn-based games. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 could get me into first-person melee games. I typically don't like them. Mike and a Mike with a $5 super chat. I'm a Sony pony 100%. I don't think Astro should have won. It should have been Final Fantasy VII, but I don't think it was rigged, though. That's a lot. Mike, I'm here to tell you something. If Astrobot didn't win, Metaphor would have won. Based on the results of all the other categories, Metaphor was in second place. I didn't play him, but I'm just here to tell you, if Astrobot wouldn't have won or didn't exist or got Thanos snapped out of existence, Metaphor would have won Game of the Year. It won too many categories to not. It was next up and running. I guarantee you it was. Khaled with 37 months. Congratulations on 50K. It's been a long-fought journey, and you rightfully made it. I've been here since this channel will help you rage less. Man, my man, that's old school. Bumping the line to 31. Thank you so much as we work on the weekly goal. This week, we're being a little bit more generous. You've already unlocked the goal for Hilly. This is for Friday night. You don't got to hit stretch this week to get Friday night. Lona, don't forget that Astrobot's a family game played by many parents and children. Like if you can't play Wukong with a kid, it's not suitable. Well, and I think a lot of people forget that factored in. A lot of the people that are writing these reviews and making the videos and writing for GameSpot and IGN and Eurogamer, They've got nephews and nieces and children, and Astrobot struck a chord like it was a multi-generational experience. It was. If I wrote for one of those outlets, I would have voted for Astrobot. Even though my favorite game was Stellar Blade, I would have been like, oh no, this deserves it. My children were elated, and they ask about it all the time. Every time they see him, they squeal. They're like, oh, it's Astrobot. Like, if they come out with merch or stuffies or toys, my kids will demand that I get them for them. Those completion percentages for Metaphor are awfully low for people calling it their game of the year, but carry on. How low are they, Corey? Are they lower than any other game? I remember when people did this with Hogwarts Legacy, and Hogwarts Legacy completion percentage was in the same percentage of every other game that comes out. Completion percentage for games are not that particularly high. What are you smoking? Lono said Hellblade 2 is one of his biggest disappointments. Yeah, I didn't have any. Lono thought Hellblade 2 was game of the year. All right, I'll tell you what. You take your gold badge that you probably didn't pay for, and you take a frickin' walk, because you're just in here making stuff up to be, I guess, to get a reaction. There's the last and final reaction you'll ever get from me, unless you're like all these other pathetic people who make alts and come back because you have derangement syndrome and can't leave this channel alone. I don't care, but you're not getting gifteds here anymore if you're just going to come in and say nonsense. I never said Hellblade 2 was my game of the year. It was my biggest disappointment this year. Stellar Blade, maybe dig the wax out of your ears after you wash the Cheeto dust off of them. I said Stellar Blade was my favorite game, not Hellblade. Jiminy Christmas. How do you have a gold badge and say that? Because he's probably riding on a gifted. Guaranteed that's not somebody paying for 2 years of membership. Ain't no way you're paying for 2 years of membership and you're just saying nonsense like that. If the people who voted for Metaphor liked it, that's all that matters. The jury's a tiny percentage of the entire gaming community. Well, I mean, it's also possible, though, what Corey is talking about is the public saying that Metaphor deserved Game of the Year. Right? I'm making stuff up too, Mr. Dutch Hater, says Zubair. Astro literally lifted an entire gaming genre forward. It's the Skyrim or Baldur's Gate 3 of platformers. True innovation. Are you suggesting he has Cheeto dust on his ears? No, I was saying clean out the wax in your ears, but get the Cheeto dust off your fingers first. It's a multi-stepped plan. See, I figure he has the intelligence of a chimpanzee, so that'll take him probably the rest of the afternoon to, like, I don't know, like wash his hands, you know, and clean out his ears, you know. It's a multi-layered set of instructions. He'll be struggling for a little bit to figure it out. Chimps are pretty smart. Don't insult chimpanzees, Lono. Astro was a near perfect experience, but I would not say it changed gaming at all. Yeah, I tend to agree with what Paul is saying. We need to be careful. I don't think that Astro elevated platformers. I think it showed that you can achieve excellence in a platformer even in 2024. Like, we don't need to leave that genre behind. You can achieve excellence in that category and in that genre. I think a lot of people see that category and they're like, what the frick is this? Is it a kid's game? No, it's got really challenging, really awesome levels. It's got really, really charming design. It's got really, really satisfying mechanics. There's a lot to unpack when you play that game. It's not just run here, jump here, wall jump there. There's so much more than that to the game. But I don't think it like elevated platformers. I mean, let's be fair. A lot of what's in Astrobot we've experienced before, and that's okay. Every time you play a Metroidvania or a platformer, you're engaging with familiar mechanics. Like, anybody who got upset about the fact that, like, Astrobot won Game of the Year and it had mechanics in it that were familiar, I would be curious what they think about, like, I don't know, Elden Ring winning Game of the Year, as significant amounts of its mechanics and fights and animations are things that you have quite literally experienced before one-to-one in a Souls game. Like, there's not a problem with that. The problem is never, does the game have familiar concepts or mechanics? The question is, are they just boring and derivative, or are they new and fresh? You can innovate within familiarity. I don't think that's like impossible to do. Like when I played Prince of Persia and the Lost Crown, there were so many familiar mechanics to Metroidvanias, but I wasn't like, oh, it's stupid. I've had a double jump before. I've had a wall jump before. I've had a grappling hook before. I've had iframe dodges before. No, it was seamlessly woven together into a great experience, even though the mechanics themselves were familiar. You can have newness, freshness, and innovation within familiar mechanics, which is why Elden Ring was so great. They took familiar concepts, put it in a big open world, and created exploratory purpose, and they do this really excellent thing of like hiding caves and caverns and creating density within an open world, so you're never really sure what's around the corner or what's beneath your feet, and yet it was very familiar, and that's okay. That's okay. Mario sells well every release, proving that platformers are still profitable. Well, that's dangerous, though, because it's Mario, right? You got to be careful. Mario is king. Mario's God in the gaming world. Next to, like, as far as iconically being recognized and sell tons of copies just because he's in it. Next to only maybe Pikachu. Like, Pikachu probably is ranked higher because of how much more popular Pokemon has become. But, like, Mario is God. Like, you put Mario on anything and it's going to sell well. So, I don't think you're wrong. Platformers are still profitable and popular. But, like, Prince of Persia and the Lost Crown didn't make enough money. Right? Super Mario Brothers All-Stars probably did great. They're both great platformers. One's a Metroidvania, one's more traditional, akin to like a Super Mario Brothers 3. But still, Mario is like jet fuel in the tank. You put him on there and it's kind of unfair. It's like, oh, well, that's okay. It's like putting Sydney Sweeney in your advertising or your show. Like, you're just going to get automatic boosts of engagement and viewership because we all know why. That's just the nature of things. Like, you have something that's sort of, you know, hot right now. Mario's been hot for 30 years. So it's really tough to say, well, that means these games are so... Yeah, Mario sells out tennis games. Yeah, does that mean we got a ton of tennis games that are, you know, going to be able to come out and be popular? Well-made point. Well-made point. Guys, if you're just tuning in, we're having conversations about all kinds of different stuff. Curious if you agree with me. Was the GTA 6 trailer 2... Was it a troll by Rockstar? We had a big waiting room on Friday, and I put a little clown emoji on the thumbnail. I think we got trolled by Rockstar. You don't need to spam Andrew Gaming. Come on, brother. You got to chill out for just a minute. I'm gonna put you. Let's just take a cool off here. We sat around for 10 hours on Friday. And never got the GTA 6 trailer 2. So do you think they're going to announce it, or do you think they're just going to surprise us? How do you think they're going to handle the second trailer for GTA 6 would be my question. While you guys are answering the question or considering checking out my video, the most anticipated games of 2025, GTA 6 is in there. Go find out where I put it and leave a comment. Also, always remember to hit like on these live streams. It helps more people find the video. Yes, Expedition 33 was 10th on my list. It's turn-based, Haseo. I'm asking because I've seen the trailer in your show open and was curious what the name was. It's got a weird name, Haseo. Everybody's calling it Expedition 33, but it's Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Yeah, and it looks awesome. It's only going to be $50, 30 hours to clear it. They've got names like Andy Serkis and Charlie Cox involved. They've got the ever so handsome Ben Starr and Jennifer English from Baldur's Gate 3. They've got a really killer cast. So, yeah. Did Rockstar really tweet that there was going to be a second trailer? They have not tweeted that, no. That's my question to you. Do you think they're just going to drop it randomly, or do you think they're going to officially announce GTA 6 trailer 2 and, like, give us the date? And Behemoth comes in with a 10 bomb and takes us to 41. We're now 9 away from me gifting more members. Thank you so much. If you guys want to support this channel directly, we're working on a really big goal right now. We want to get 600 people at Member Plus and above. So you can upgrade to Member Plus for $1 and you can help us hit that goal. We currently are at like $5.50. We need 50 people to upgrade. So if you get a gifted member or you're just considering hitting that join button, make sure you pick Member Plus. You could argue platformers are some of the most popular games at the moment for sure. They're way more accessible. Probably. Please submit a question to us by typing !, then your question. Thanks. I need to clear out the question queue. I saw somebody submit one and they got told they were in number 17th. Let me answer the question and then let me clear out the queue. Crisco, yes, is Reforge Gaming. I'd like to ask, what's your take on C.S. Lewis's The Great Divorce book? I still haven't read it, and I have a copy. Oh my gosh, that's so out of the blue and so off topic. It's a great book. Read it. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with any book written by Jack. He is stellar. He is stellar. The Great Divorce is really, really good. And totally off topic. Dan left a comment on my video. The full release of Path of Exile 2 is on my top for next year. The game's fun and rewards your character. I agree. It's going to be huge. I agree, Dan. I think Path of Exile 2 will be huge. Got a comment that got put into review because of a dot. Somebody they thought you were trying to put a hyperlink. Predator says Ghost of Yote, Borderlands 4, Doom, and Show Up American Story on my top 4. That's a nice list. That is a nice list. Citizen JV says my top 5 for 2025 are Ghost of Yote, Crimson Desert, Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, Mafia the Old Country, and Atomfall. Atomfall looks rough, TBH. I'm not too keen on Atomfall. That one looks a little rough. It's also going to be on old gen, so I'm not sure how long that's been cooking. You know what I mean? Divisive Gaming says, folks wonder why gaming is in such a weird place. Most of the people who claim to support it are kind of goofy. We had like a really touching conversation on Friday night. If you guys missed it, go back and watch the 50K celebration. I didn't expect to get emotional dressed like an elf, but these things happen. And I was really encouraged by the idea of like, we can do something here that is sort of an oasis. And in a desert of just negativity and grifting and salt and rage, we can be like, you know what? That's not what we do here. We deal in healthy discussion, rooted in facts, and we're open to differing opinions. Like, that's kind of what we shoot for. Like, if you want to hate on something, hate on something. That doesn't bother me. Like, I'm going to press on that and ask for reasons or facts or something behind it other than just like, oh, I'm angry, you know. A 5 spot from SDO. Turn-based combat games and platformers are getting a lot of attention these days. Are people bored with the super open world games? We need one more super chat. Who's going to steal the confetto or the confetti, as we say? I think that's a good observation, SDO. I actually like that observation, that because we got so many open world games, now all of a sudden it's kind of like in fashion, how fashion trends come back around. All of a sudden people will be wearing like bell bottoms and you're like, what the heck happened, right? I think that's going to happen in gaming. I think we're regularly going to see cycles of genres kind of come back around. Well, and this is what's going to happen. Like, Breath of the Wild is likely, very likely, why we saw a monsoon of open world games like that. Think about when Breath of the Wild came out. I believe it was 2017, wasn't it? I believe it was 2017. Yes, March of 2017. All right. And here we are 7 years later. And Tyler Johnson makes it rain confetti. Thank you so much, Tyler. Let me reset the goal. We do that for every 5. Oops, wrong keyboard. I will gift 5 members. There we go. I'm going to start the new goal, so if anybody super chats, it counts. Thank you, Tyler Johnson. I'll wait till we hit 50 and I'll drop a 10 bomb. We're 9 away. We'll probably hit it fairly soon here. Don't forget to check to see if you guys have renewals. Those count as well if you're at Member Plus or VIP. Always check the $ at the bottom of the chat. That's how you celebrate those. So 7 years after Breath of the Wild, it wouldn't surprise me at all if that's why we're seeing that. All these companies said, man, look at what they did with Zelda, and they sort of took it into the open world. We can do something similar. And then Elden Ring. Elden Ring once again is just going to reinforce that, oh, we should try that. We should try that. I mean, it happened with Hades. How many Hades clones are out there now? You know? How many rogues keep coming out because of games like Dead Cells and Hades? And then look at what Vampire Survivors did. Vampire Survivors hit, and now we've got Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. We've got this Survivor, that Survivor. Now we've got first-person survivors like Vampire Hunters. So to me, I think that's going to continue to happen. You're just going to continue to see those gaming trends cycle because a big game will explode and it'll inspire all these other companies to say, we should try and do something like that. Like Vampire Survivors created, like what Zubair is saying, an entire genre. Now we say survivors with an S instead of survivor, like a survival game. Silver Subaru with the VIP bumps the membership line. 50K, let's go, chat. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So, yeah, I think you're going to see that a lot. I think you're going to see that a lot. You're going to see people that see a game and take inspiration from it and say, oh, we should try our own version of that, our own spin of that, for sure. And I think your observation is good, SDO, that maybe that's why it's working, because people are like, man, what a breath of fresh air. I'm so dadgum tired of open world games. I think it's why I love Stellar Blade. I think it's why Rise of the Ronin got old. I think it's why I was enjoying Dragon Age of Veilguard until the combat got really annoying, because of its linear structure. Final Fantasy 16, same deal. It's why I just loved playing Space Marine 2, so much so that when we rolled credits, now my wife and I are enjoying Operations. Praise the Emperor, Lono Hammer 50K. Thank you for a Member Plus renewal, Kingslayer. That bumps the membership line to 43. Appreciate you guys. Lono's all about that genre now. Which one? I love the Survivor ones, but I kind of burned myself out a little bit with them. Now I need it to be co-op. Like, I don't want to just sit there and grind something like Karate Survivor or Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. Like, I don't want to grind that by myself. Like, it'd be fun. It would be 10 times more fun if it was co-op. I'm just naturally going to gravitate towards that. Now I got to figure out what next game I should play from my backlog. I finished Kena, rolled credits on Kena, rolled credits on Space Marine 2. I don't know what I should do next. I want to try Death Stranding 2, but I feel like it's just too big and too long. I'd have to start over. I'd have to start over because I'd have to treat it like a TV show. Wait, that's the wrong Super Chat goal. Hang on. It's not supposed to be 10. It's supposed to be 5. You coming out of it now? It's not that I'm coming out of it. Now I need the Survivor games to be co-op. Like, my nephews and I probably played, I think, around 15 hours across an entire week of Vampire Survivors couch co-op, and it was just fun. We are getting a big search result on, once again, GTA 6. If you guys tuned in for news about GTA 6 or the GTA 6 trailer 2, we had a big GTA 6 trailer 2 waiting room on Friday, and funny enough, we didn't get it. We didn't get the trailer, and I have basically come to the conclusion that they trolled us. I stand firm on that the community didn't make a mistake or something. It was something that Rockstar definitely did as a way, as I think as a way to just kind of mess and have fun. I don't think it was mean spirited, but I definitely think that it was done in a way that was trollish, which, coming out on the other end of it, now as we sort of sit around and wait, well, when is the GTA 6 trailer 2 release? When is it? Well, while we're waiting for that, I think unless they officially announce it, there's no reason to really pay attention to anything Rockstar's doing. If they continue to troll and put out breadcrumbs on Instagram and do goofy things, there's no reason to pay any attention to it. I said it on Friday, they get to shoot that shot one time. They get to shoot that shot one time. After that, yeah. Now nobody's going to pay any attention to their memes or their trolls or their whatever you want to call them. I don't think anybody will pay any attention to it. Rockstar did a great job. Yeah, I think I said they did just enough for them to claim like plausible deniability. Like, what do you mean? We didn't do anything. We didn't, Rockstar Games could be like, we didn't put out any announcements about the GTA 6 trailer. We didn't. Yeah, I found the waiting room genre. That's right. That's all we're going to do from here on out. There's no reason to do a gaming news talk show. We'll just do waiting rooms. We'll just do waiting rooms. Now, that's my path forward as a content creator. And if you guys missed it, I did an upload this morning, the most anticipated games of 2025. Thank you to everybody who has supported that video already by watching it or leaving a comment. We greatly appreciate that. Continue to make sure you watch that at some point throughout the day and leave a comment. I've featured some of the comments here today. Edward Hull says, my top 10 most anticipated games of 2025 is Ghost of Yotei, Expedition 33, Professor Layton, and the New World of Steam. I don't know what that is. Death Stranding 2, GTA 6, Split Fiction, Mafia the Old Country, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, Wanderstop, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I love seeing games not on my list. I love seeing games not on my list, especially when they were games I almost included. I almost included some, especially that Split Fiction game. That was a tough one to not include. I wanted to include it. Space Marine 2 published an update 17 minutes ago. We launched Space Marine 2 on September the 9th. Okay, so they're going to assure us that 2025 is going to be just as epic, okay? Collaborating with players to improve the game. Update 4.0 Termination. Introduce a new PvE mission with a dreadful foe to annihilate the Hierophant Biotitan. Then there was Update 5.0 Obelisk. More and more Marines are joining the ranks. 5 million players. There's been some good fan creation, some community events. What's next for 2025? All right, so this is worth talking about. They just published this. Let me make the text big for you. Here we go. So this is what's coming up for Space Marine 2. PvP players, we've heard you, and we know you feel left out. We will have your back in 2025 with brand new and exciting content for the PvP. First thing we'll tease you with is a PvP map. Okay, it'll be set in close environment with many narrow passages to engage. All right, custom PvP lobbies. Excuse me. Stonespire says, my bet is with them dropping the second trailer during the Super Bowl. During the Super Bowl? Really? I don't know about that. Custom PvP lobbies will also be implemented in patch 7.0. You'll be able to play with modifiers and change the amount of players up to 66. You can change the timer limit for each match, the maximum limit score, more than 2 players for each class. Then, new PvE content. All right, here we go. The hotly anticipated Horde mode will arrive later in 2025. We'll keep you updated. Prestige rank will be introduced during Season 3, allowing you to upgrade your classes even further. On top of that, new operations and new enemies will come to expand the content of Space Marine 2. To spice things up, a new difficulty level with new rewards will be added. And our next champion will be the Salamander Champion, and he will be a sniper available in PvE and PvP. He'll have a very cool cape. That's obviously super important. An obvious choice for the sniper champion would have been a Raven Guard, but we have different plans for them. Everyone loves Salamanders, us included, and we really wanted to give this champion heavy and tactical would be good candidates, but heavy was already taken. We have a different idea for tactical. Here's a sneak peek. That looks pretty awesome. We're going to add customization elements, Battle Barge expansion. All right, the Data Vault will make its entry next year onto the Battle Barge. It'll consist of a new area with unlockable information. Okay, we'll see you soon. We'll see you soon, dude. Like I said, my wife and I have been enjoying the operations, and you guys said to just set it to private so that we get, a bot instead of a random player that just runs ahead. So, if you guys haven't done so already, take a quick second and hit the like button. Let's try to get to 300 likes. Make that a ritual every time you come into the live show. Thanks so much for being here. And here's a question. You can have your question pop up like this if you're a member. Just use the question command in chat. And Gaza says, I asked this earlier, but didn't know if you saw it. But what are your expectations of games to the upcoming GTA 6 release? Will other games have the same expectations, I think you meant to say, or aspirations? I actually think the frustrating thing about GTA 6 is that it's going to make everybody else stay really, really quiet. Like, we're not going to know anything past May. Excuse me. Nothing. Something is coming in the summer. What's coming in the summer of 2025? It was in my video. I can't remember which one it was. Let me pull up my document. Can you guys remember? Was it Doom? There's one game that said summer, and I don't think it was Doom. It was one of the other ones. I'll have to pull up on my script and do a Control F on it. Here we go. Top games in 2025. Beyond that, we don't know. I don't think we're going to know anything until we get a GTA 6 release date. Was it Mafia? Was that the one? Yeah, you're right. Mafia the Old Country. I think that's the only game that's given us a release date farther out than like April or May. Like beyond April or May, like we know nothing. And that's not necessarily a problem, but we're going to walk into an Xbox Developer Direct, potentially a State of Play at some point from Sony. Then there's the summer stuff, right, with Summer Game Fest and the Xbox Showcase. We're not going to get release dates from anybody until GTA 6 speaks up. They're going to hold the second half of the year hostage. Nobody's going to want to commit to anything past the summer. So we've got a nice, strong year. But if you go to this blog, let's see. Let's just go to this blog from PlayStation. Right? We have no idea when Yote's coming. No idea. Hell Is Us? No idea. Assassin's Creed, first half. Doom? No idea. Death Stranding 2? No idea. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza is February. February is just absolutely stacked. Little Nightmares 3? No idea. Where Winds Meet? No idea. Monster Hunter Wilds. My kids are goofing off. I hear you guys laughing. What are you doing? Monster Hunter Wilds is February. Dynasty Warriors is no idea. 2025. I mean, do you see all these games? And we have zero clue. Borderlands 4. I think we have a release date for Forever Skies. Nope, we don't. It had a demo, maybe. Elden Ring Night Rain. No idea. Thought we had one for Doom? No. I'm pretty sure we don't. Let me go check. No. Release date to be determined. We do not have a release date for Doom. I bet we might get one at the Developer Direct. Like, look at the number of games coming out, and we know nothing. We know nothing past basically like the first 4 or 5 months. Like, February, March is going to be amazing. Dynasty Warriors is in January? Is it really? Okay, that just adds to my point, right? We have no idea. Wait, we got a release window announcement from these guys? Coming late. So, yeah. So, Crimson Desert is another one where you're just going to have to wait. You don't know. It's going to be in the second half. You have no idea. Civ 7. Right? Civ 7. I don't see one. I don't see a release date. This is weird. Why does it not say it in the same spot as the other games did? Oh, release is February the 11th. Mafia the Old Country. They said summer. What do we got for Baby Steps? Release date yet to be determined. The Midnight Walk. Release date to be determined. You see what I'm saying? I'm telling you that all of that is because of GTA 6. I bet you half of those games have an approximation of where they want to land, but they can't commit to anything right now. They can't commit to anything. And it makes sense. What are you going to do? You're going to pick your date and then have to move? because all of a sudden GTA 6 release date finally comes out. Like, that's not a look. That's not a good look. Nobody wants to do that. Rockstar scared them all. That's what I'm saying. What's so special about Crimson Desert? I would say so far the reason people are excited about Crimson Desert is the gameplay looks almost too good to be true. Like, really, really high octane, insane number of NPCs and enemies kind of on the screen. The graphics look very, very high fidelity for how much is going on the screen. It looks too good to be true. I mean, I'll just say it. People got really upset at me during the Game Awards when I said, there's no way this game is real. I was like, I wasn't being literal. I was being hyperbolic. It's like, this looks too, that it's like that lady on the plane, right? She's like, that mother back there is not real. I'm like, this game's not real, bro. Like, it just looks too good to be true. And if they can pull it off, I mean, the combat looks insane. It looks visceral and fast and unique, but it looks like you're going to need a very either beefy PC to play it, or they're going to have to really change certain elements of the graphics. Being scared of GTA 6 makes some game companies look like, well, no, I don't think it makes them look like that at all. I think it makes them look rather logical, right? It just makes them look rather logical. Every business is going to strategize around something like that. You know what I'm saying? If you were bringing your more medium-sized budget movie to the market and you knew that, like, remember when the final Marvel movie hit, Endgame? Do you want to launch the day after that movie? You want to launch the week after that movie? No, that doesn't make you like scared. It makes you sensible. A lot of these companies will just get absolutely squashed by GTA 6. They're going to want probably a good month buffer. If the GTA 6 release date, let's just say it's in November, you're going to want to release at the earliest before the middle of October. And then you're going to want to wait until about halfway through December. You're going to want to give a huge buffer to the GTA 6 release date. You're not going to want to be in proximity. You'll get completely overshadowed. You're going to premiere your new TV show during the Super Bowl? Right. It's just everyone's fighting for attention. And when the big dog in the room stands up, everyone's going to turn in their chairs. And that's what they're going to be looking at. And you can be over here in the corner wanting to play tic-tac-toe. Nobody's going to want to look at you. Like, there's just no way. It's just the reality. And this doesn't happen often. I mean, if we're honest, GTA 6 by itself is anomalous. It's rare. It's rare to have a game of this size and notoriety. And honestly, I don't know if there's another example. I really don't. Elden Ring was an example that kind of took the world by storm. Anytime a trailer dropped or discussion or gameplay, it was insane. But I don't know if there's a game that matches this, because Call of Duty comes out too often for it to hit this level of anticipation and excitement. I think this game's in its own league of interest. Only GTA 6 has such power. Yeah, I don't think there's anything at this level. I really don't. I think it's very unique. And so studios and publishers and marketing departments are probably thinking, we've really got to navigate this winsomely or we're going to suffer. You can't just have your game sales not do well and be like, sorry, boss, what do you want us to do, man? GTA 6 came out. Well, you're going to have to strategize around it. This is why we don't get any more Titanfall games. Yeah. That's such a... Whoa, what a good point, Alfonso. What a good point. Titanfall 2 decided to launch in between Call of Duty and Battlefield. And they got their arrogant teeth knocked in. It wasn't like David versus Goliath. That was like a grasshopper versus Goliath. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? That was a grasshopper versus Goliath. Like, I've got an idea. Let's take on the two most established first-person shooters in the world. Look what happened to Horizon Zero Dawn. It was a great game, but could have been more recognized. Well, I mean, Horizon franchise, the franchise success of Horizon has actually been quite good, even though it did land on Zelda and then Elden Ring. That was unfortunate. No game has the pull and the power of GTA. It's not even close, says Christopher Burnett. GTA 6 will sell over 40 million copies within the first year of release, probably within the first 6 months. Yeah, somebody asked me to predict the sales of GTA 6. I was like, I don't even think I can. I don't have a way to do it. EA set up Respawn to fail. You know what we discovered, Dark Taco? It wasn't EA. It wasn't. It was Respawn's idea. My jaw fell to the floor when I learned that. It wasn't EA's idea to launch at that window. It was Respawn's idea. That would be like taking your very inexperienced boxer and being like, all right, I got an idea. Let's take on the heavyweight. Let's take on the champ. Let's see what happens. And your little guy goes out there and gets punched once. And you're like, maybe we shouldn't have done this. Like, it made no sense. I couldn't believe it when we found that out. I was like, what? We all thought EA was the devil in the room. It wasn't them. It was Respawn. Cocky sons of guns. If you guys are just tuning in and you're like, hey, what's going on with GTA 6 trailer 2? I'll tell you what's going on. Nothing. We sat for 10 hours on Friday. We got trolled by Rockstar, and that's okay. We had a fun time. We're still having a fun time today. I don't think they're going to drop any more hints or clues. I think we'll probably get an announcement, and they'll just give us a date. I don't know when, but I think they'll probably just announce it. They'll just say trailer 2 at this date and time. They probably will not schedule the video and premiere it like last time, unless YouTube can make guarantees it'll be locked down and protected so it doesn't get leaked. Do me a favor, though, as you pile in here, let's get 24 more likes. Let's get 300 likes on the video. The like count on Friday is one of the main reasons we did so well and met so many folks. You guys can literally come in and help the video for free. Just hit that like button. I just realized even when we get GTA 6, PC players will have to wait. Yeah, which is a downfall. I mean, I tend to think you get a better product. I get a lot of grief for this viewpoint, but it's a factual viewpoint and it's based on what developers say. So it's a viewpoint that's rooted in reality, not in like weird ideology. It's rooted in reality. Developers have made it clear you get a better product when they build for one system first. And limiting the scope of a project, to me, I think that's the right choice. Development studios right now are trying to figure out how to shrink budgets and be more efficient and more effective and therefore more profitable, because cost of operations and production and all of that is just continuing to go up. And so they're trying to figure it out. And I think that's a great way of really shaving off some of your cost, is build for limiting the amount of systems that you build for. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what Xbox published games look like 5 years from now, because all those studios are now going to start facing down the barrel of, I want you just to imagine you're a studio right now. I want you to imagine that you shipped, let's imagine that you're Bethesda and you ship Starfield and you're basically getting ready to buckle down and dig in on Elder Scrolls 6, and you've got to build it for Series S, Series X, a broad spectrum of PC configurations, PS5, PS5 Pro. Let's imagine it's not Elder Scrolls 6. Just imagine you're a developer and they also want you to build for the Switch too. Just throw that log on the fire. I don't know, man. It's going to be very interesting to see how that pans out. That just seems to be too broad. I genuinely would hope this, not just for the Xbox guys or the platform, but I would hope they would just start building their games for Xbox and PC first, and then bring them to PlayStation and Nintendo later. But I don't think Satya wants that. I think you'd get better games. I do. I think you would get better quality games if they did that. My worry is they're going to spread themselves too thin and have to build for too many platforms, and it's going to hurt development. Because as soon as you're building a game for Series S, Series X, PS5, PS5 Pro, Switch 2, you're going to shave certain things down. You're gonna be like, well, we can't do that, or we can't do that, or we can't do that, or we can't do that. And the reason you're going to do that is because there's just certain things that some of the platforms aren't going to be able to do as well as the others, and those things just naturally will then get shaved right off. We got some more lists here. If you guys haven't checked out my latest video, also double check. Sometimes YouTube doesn't save your like. Make sure it saves your like. We need 13 more. But my latest video is about the most anticipated games of 2025. And we got one here from Mike on the mic. He says, hopefully Expedition 33 comes out next year, because also AC Shadows and Ghosts of Yote. The devs said, see you in spring. Yeah, the devs of Expedition 33 said see you in spring. So once again, the first half of 2025 is going to be pretty stout. Christopher Burnett says, I've been gaming for nearly 40 years now, and I've never seen any game more hype than GTA 6. I've never seen any game have this many people speculating about it coming up with theories more than GTA 6. Brett says, wait to port to PS5. What kind of pony are you? Shouldn't you be port begging? Well, I don't know if that'll ever get... Well, they'll clip it and call it port begging, Brett. But I stand by my conviction. I don't care who the platform is. I don't. I think Xbox-owned studios would make better games if they prioritize the console first, then PC, then PlayStation. You would end up with better games. I stand by that. That's a conviction based on what developers have said. That was never based on platform allegiance or tribalism. It was based on facts. That's why when you're going to engage with me saying that, you've got to take me out of context, call me a port beggar or a pony. You can't engage with the facts. The facts are the facts. Developers have been saying for years, it's better for the game, it's better for them, it's better for the consumer if we build for one platform first. And I'm like, well, then do that. And then you have companies like Nixxes that excel at porting. I would love for Xbox to do that. Prioritize your dadgum console first, which they're not going to do. Sales have been terrible, and their saturation is falling behind previous gen, so they can't prioritize it first. They can't. Well, now what are you going to do? Well, you're going to go buckshot. You're going to go buckshot approach. Well, now we got to build for Series S, Series X, PC, PS5, PS5 Pro, and maybe even the Switch 2. All right, good luck. That runs counter to everything developers have been saying. You can't in one breath say limiting the scope of Starfield helped the project, and then in the next breath be like, well, now we're going to be building games for every single platform that's out there. Okay, great. Hopefully, something that runs counter to all wisdom and prudence and logic results in good products. I think From Software should release great game. Wait, I think From Software should example of how to release a great game that don't take 4 to 5 years between the release. Yeah, I think From Software does impressive work, but From Software also leans a lot on institutional and established things within their own games. Elden Ring really leaned on a lot of stuff that had already been built over the years in Dark Souls 1 through 3. It's also not a next-gen game, so that probably saved on dev time. It also launched with some performance issues, so, you know, I don't know if they're the best example. It had all kinds of frame pacing issues when it launched, and stutters and glitches and hitches. The best way to play that game was like the PS4 version on a PS5, or really tweak. Well, actually, the PC version had all kinds of issues at launch that they had to rectify. So, yeah, I don't actually know if they're a great example of that. I would say Armored Core 6 is a good example of that, but again, scope of that game and size of the project and the length is nowhere near Elden Ring. So I don't know if they're the best example of that, to be honest with you. If you're going to build a game within the 4 to 5 window and you want to be touted as like one of the best, then I think the product should come out more polished. Elden Ring was excellence in vision and an idea and an execution of let's take the genre bigger. But as far as being polished and not having issues, I forgot about Hell Is Us. No, I didn't forget about it. It was on my list, but I had to remove it. I didn't want to have 20 games on my list. I had 14 or 15 games, and I had to trim it down to 10. I didn't want the video to be too long. It ended up being like 15 minutes. I suppose I could have gone farther than that, but I liked having 10. That just felt better for the video. Yes, State of Decay 3 has been delayed, according to Jez Corden. I talked about that in the show open. I think that's probably a better sign, though, for Xbox. Air Drymore says, my top 10 are YS Memoir, The Oath of, I don't know what that is, Trails Through Daybreak 2, don't have any idea what that is, Xenoblade Chronicles, okay, Suikoden 1 and 2, Lunar 1 and 2, Dragon Quest 1 and 2, Ghost of Yote Claire, Obscura Expedition 33, Split Fiction, and Death Stranding. Half of those I've never heard of, which is awesome. 2025 will be huge. I mean, I love when people have literal games that I've like never heard of. I don't know what any of those are, which is good. Lona, I feel like you aren't into the Yakuza style games, but have you seen gameplay of the new one coming, Like a Dragon LA Pirates? Gameplay looks crisp. It does. It does. If I would have been doing a most anticipated games of 2025, you know, maybe I should have done this. It would have taken me too long to make, though. Like 25 games in 25, like the 25 big games coming in 2025, I probably would have included Yakuza because it does look good. It really does. I've heard Fable was delayed to 2026 to work on the PS5 version as well. I haven't heard that from any of the bigger, more reputable insiders, but my gut, Christopher, has been that Fable slips. Because think about what they already have confirmed. Avowed, South of Midnight, Doom the Dark Ages, The Outer Worlds 2. I don't know, man. That seems like 4. Now, you might say South of Midnight doesn't count, but they wanted 4 games out a year at quality, and Avowed at 30 FPS is not quality, in my opinion. Phil Spencer's not making good on his promise. I think shipping a game at 30 FPS in 2025 is a joke, but what are you going to do? But that's 4 games. Fable might have slipped. I mean it. I think Fable might have slipped. And they may be getting it ready for PS5. I don't know. I've seen people saying that. Have you seen Video Game Donkey's video about AAA games for 2025? They all have swords. No, I've not seen that. Are we still promised Dune Awakenings? Dune Awakenings is in like early access, isn't it? As an MMO, I think they're trying to figure things out. I don't think it did that well like in the first couple of weeks, but I think it's improving. Have you had a chance to try Minecraft Dungeons Tower? It's so fun. It isn't part of the story, so it would bypass the issues you previously had. Yeah, we just moved on. We got glitched out and couldn't progress. It wasn't giving us credit for the eyeballs or whatever. I don't know what happened. So my son and I are enjoying Lego Fortnite. Yo, good morning, Crow Quill. How are you? Guys, double check that you've liked the video. Double check that you don't have a membership renewal. We're 7 away from 50. I do owe you guys 5. I was waiting for 50 to drop a 10. Appreciate you guys continue to support the channel directly. If you're here on a regular basis and you want to support the channel directly, the best way to do it is with a membership. If you're wanting to do it direct, you're like, oh, I like Super Chats or I like this. Do a membership, pick Member Plus at 6. If you're like, I can't support directly, make sure you're here every day, hit like and lurk. That is the single greatest way to support the channel. Everyone's like, oh man, sometimes I can't afford it. But if you're here every day, that is a massive amount of support for what we do. So thank you. GTA 6 is going to kind of be like the PS5 exclusive. How do you figure? What is your favorite game that you've ever played? My favorite game of all time is Hellblade 1. Followed by like the Ori games and Returnal and Tsushima. Yeah, it's tough for me to pick after that. It gets a little muddy, but yeah, I absolutely love Hellblade 1. And this is what you can do when you're a member. You can always ask questions in chat, and I'll answer your questions. You don't have to be a member, but you can have it pop up on screen like this. And we're going to be using these questions for shorts. They can let us do 3-minute shorts now. So you may get featured on the channel as a member submitting questions. And this one comes from Citizen JV. With the commercial failure of Starfield, I'm not sure if that's been established, what will the future hold for Fallout and Elder Scrolls? I don't think this has been established that Starfield's been a commercial failure. I'm not sure where you're getting this information. They touted it as the single greatest addition of Game Pass subscribers in a single day. That was prior to Black Ops 6. We knew Black Ops 6 was going to take that record. But they celebrated that as well as the player base numbers. Now, if you're looking at commercial failure, maybe with respect to total sales, as well as probably how it performed on Steam, I would need that to be argued rather firmly and objectively if I'm going to accept that. I don't know if it was a commercial failure. We also don't know what it's going to do if they can get it into a better place and more quality of life, more patches, more updates, and then bring it to PS5, because especially with some PS5 Pro enhancements and some good updates, it might actually do very well on PlayStation, given how well Fallout 4 sold. There is potentially a very large Bethesda player base on PlayStation. So I never want to accept a claim like that unless it has been firmly and definitively proven, to which I don't think that has happened. So we'll obviously have to wait and see, but Uno Yo Die comes in with 5 gifted members and puts us on the doorstep of 50. That's 48 members. You guys just continue to support the channel so much. If you don't get a gifted, or you do get a gifted, always consider picking Member Plus. It makes room for others. I hope Marvel 1943 doesn't end up like Hellblade 2, where they focus so much on how it looks and sounds instead of the actual gameplay. So far, what they've shown of that Marvel game, it looks really, really good. But yeah, it could end up being, it could end up being one of those games that focuses a little bit too much on that. I think, that's why a lot of people, I think, that have been worried about, like, GTA 6. Is GTA 6 going to look like the trailer? Is it going to be graphically awesome and strong? It's like, you kind of don't want GTA 6 gameplay to focus on that, I don't think. You want it to focus on that to a degree, but that's not the central offer. To me, the central offer is the gameplay, is the freedom, is the open world. That's the central offer. If you nail that, then the game will be massively successful. So, let's take another question here from the members. Stonespire says, we discussed briefly in a previous stream that 2025 being so full of games is partially due to the games developed during COVID are finally releasing. Will 2026 follow 2025's cadence? Yes, for one particular reason, homie. A lot of games are just going to skip next year. They're just going to bump to 2026. I think this just keeps rolling forward. Whether it's how PlayStation handles their first-party studios or how Xbox handles their first-party studios, a lot of third parties are going to say, it's probably best that we wait. GTA 6 is going to be a causality in this. It's just going to be like a disturbance in the force. When the GTA 6 release date finally lands, it will certainly cause some games to jump to next year. Like, you're just going to keep rolling things forward. I think there's just going to be an almost an ever-flowing surplus because of this. And GTA 6 will likely have a factor in that as well. Because we know it's landing at the earliest in fall. And that's just going to make some games say, well, then we might as well jump to first quarter. See, a lot of games, and I think this is why this is happening. So I made this observation this morning that January now actually ends up heating up for games marketing, because a lot of game studios are now launching their games in February and March and sometimes even April. And there's a reason for that. There is a fiscal reason for that. They want to get these games out before their fiscal year closes. So if GTA 6 lands in the fall or the winter, a bunch of games will just bump to February and March of the following year, because they want to get out before their fiscal year ends. This, I think, is benefiting us. I think, in the long run here, right, the sickie, when it happened in 2020 and 2021, it caused companies to rethink when they release. And I think they found that February and March aren't that bad, because everybody tightens their belt in January because of the holidays, right? So maybe you spend a little bit too much. You got to pay off that credit card. And then February and March rolls around and people are ready to start spending again. And I think the gaming world learned that. And so now it's not like this monsoon where a dump truck backs up and just dumps everything on the fourth quarter, and then the first quarter is a barren wasteland. I actually think the cadence of games now is wonderful. We rarely go a month without a good big release. This year was very good. Next year will be even better. The people that have continued to try to drive this narrative that like gaming is in a terrible place and AAA gaming is dying and the gaming industry is in trouble, well, none of that came to fruition. It's really hard to see that, and it's really hard to claim that as 2025 is being forecasted. 2025 is being forecasted as a monster, an absolute monster. We already in the first 4 months of next year, I think, have almost the same number of games, big name games that came out this year. And that's just like the first quarter. It's absurd. It is absurd. PlayStation's blog, where they're like, here's all the big games coming out next year, they have more games than there are months in the year. I think it's like 17 games or something like that. So, to me, I like that. I think it's better for gamers to have this like every month there's stuff coming out instead of dry spell, just monsoon, dry spell, monsoon. I think we're in a far better place with game cadence right now. It allows guys like me to actually complete some frickin' games. Like, dude, I'm casual dad status. I don't have time to play 3 or 4 games in a month and actually finish them all. I don't have enough hours in a day. I have a question. As someone who's been gaming for nearly 40 years and have a BA and an MA in film, what advice would you give to an aspiring content creator on YouTube? I get this question a lot. I don't think my answer's really changed over the years. The best thing to do is you need to do a study of yourself first. And here's why. You need to bring something to the table that's unique to you, so then it sort of flows out of your personality and your viewpoint. Because I always told people, you need to formulate an identity and a POV for your channel first, because you have to answer the question, why would anybody watch your content? What's the point of the content? What are you doing? And the best way to answer those questions is to study yourself. Know thyself, right? What are your interests? What are the games you like? Why do you like them? What are you going to analyze? My advice to you would be to do something in the vein of your education, because you could bring a level of expertise to your analysis. So you could do, I think this would be really, really cool. I don't know if anybody does this, at least not in great amount. You could just do cinematic analysis. So you could basically break down the cinematography of video games, which, my gosh, this would be easy. Not easy. It wouldn't be easy, but at some level it might be easy for you. You could find like some of the most cinematically driven games, find their videos on YouTube where somebody puts together a supercut of all the cutscenes. Find one of those, APIs or tools that let you download the video, because it's just totally free. It's not their content, right? So you could download the video of, let's just say you take like the 4-hour supercut of Ragnarok. And what you would almost do, it would almost be like when you listen to a director's commentary on like a movie or a TV show, and you would basically just do sort of like your own running commentary on the cinematography and the direction of, God of War Ragnarok. And you'd have to come up with a POV. So for Ragnarok, you would say something to the effect of why the single cut approach to God of War is so powerful. And what you would do as someone with a background in film is you would break down why that is so powerful in Ragnarok especially. They never cut the camera in God of War 2018 or God of War Ragnarok. It's incredible. It's truly remarkable how they've done it. And so you would bring that you'd bring that level of expertise, and then people wouldn't come to you because they're like, oh, well, I like to hear about they're like, no, this guy knows what he's talking about. I don't know. There you go, free of charge. There's your channel and your POV, I have a lot of knowledge about movies and video games. I read articles nonstop about movies and games. This is what I was thinking about doing. Yeah, I think something like that. And you don't even need to get on camera. Get yourself a really, really nice microphone and figure out how to record your audio over top and do some editing, do some light editing. And I think people would eat that up, because it would be such a good time to do it as well, because the cinematic prowess of video games just continues to go up. They just continue to look better and better and better. That's something that I couldn't do. I don't have a background in that. So I've got my own ideas about how I could do that with stories and character arcs and narrative, given my background and my degrees. But so you're supposed to now say you owe me 20% of your channel. Yeah, I mean, if you strike it rich and you end up with like 1 million subscribers, I expect a kickback for that idea. Old Dad Gamer's got a question. Make sure you guys hit that like button. We're really, really close to the next milestone of members as well. So thank you everyone who's gifting and renewing your memberships. Old Dad Gamer says, I've seen you added Mafia the Old Country to your list. May I ask why? Nothing I've seen trips my trigger. Granted, I like Mafia 3, but nothing in the trailer blew my socks off. The Mafia Old Country trailer was literally the type of game that I just absolutely love right now. I love character-driven, narrative-driven games where you take me to sort of a unique time and place and I just get to experience it. And I think they nailed it. It captures the dark, almost dusty feel of Godfather. Like whenever you watch Godfather, there's almost like you feel like you could almost smell the scenery when they're in a room. The way that it's filmed, the use of color, the way they frame the shots, there's an almost haze over some of the scenes, and Mafia the Old Country brought that vibe to where I'm like, I want to play this story. I really want to experience these characters and this world. And their focus on faces and the way it was written and put together, I was like, yeah, I think they nailed this. I think it's going to feel like a very good character narrative driven game. I'm holding off on like it being really high on my list because I really do want to see some raw gameplay. The simulated gameplay looked promising, but it looked like the kind of game that's just right up my alley right now. Almost like it sticks with you. Like The Last of Us Part 2 kind of hung in the air with me after I rolled credits. I feel like Mafia the Old Country is going to be the same. DK Bager with a single gifted member bumps the line to 49. Who's going to take the glory for 50? I'll owe you guys 10 members. Christopher Burnett says, you're the first channel I've subscribed to and I love your content. Thanks for the feedback and being honest. Yeah, no problem. I've been told I give away good ideas too often, so you're the benefactor of that, because that's actually a pretty solid channel idea. I think you could nail it, especially if you got a good voice and you could write yourself really good scripts and commentary. I think people would dig it. Rygen with a question. Do you think Lego Fortnite has fulfilled the Fortnite RPG prophecy, or do you think they're still cooking that up? Yeah, it's hard to know, Rygen. I still think they could do something amazing with like an open world action RPG that was more loot based than the Lego Fortnite, because Lego Fortnite is still at its heart a survival game, and it's very, very good at that. It's not good at the combat. It's not good at the feel of getting into fights and bigger bosses and bigger enemies. That part is probably still its absolute weakest point. So I would still absolutely love, as I play through Lego Fortnite, I'm constantly reminded of how great their loot table could be if it was sort of an open world action adventure RPG with tiers of loot, the different colors, the different things. Man, oh man, would it be good. It really, really would. And the different abilities they could give you and stuff. I think there's a lot of potential still for a Lego RPG to come out, but Lego Fortnite may have sort of absorbed all those ideas. It might have just gobbled them all up. It's very possible. And then that's all we'll ever really see of Fortnite characters running around with swords and shields. Remember, the early views at the Fortnite RPG were Fortnite characters holding wands, bows and arrows, swords and shields. It wasn't Lego characters, so that still could be somewhere cooking, but I still think that Fortnite could build one of the biggest and most played MMOs in existence. They have everything that you would need. They have the building, they have the open world, they have the different biomes, they have the different forms of traversal, they have the different vehicles, they have the different weapon pools, they have the different enemies, they have mounts. I mean, it could quite literally be one of the biggest and most played MMOs, but I don't know if the server infrastructure would be even potentially there, as Fortnite itself as a battle royale gobbles up so much. It would be very difficult to launch something else that would then pull in tons of players. But I still think they could do it. And Fortnite Battle Royale has been, I think, like an ongoing experiment in that regard. So, there's a lot I think they could do there. A $10 super chat from Uno Yodai says, I feel like GTA 6 is going to be a game changer and not everyone is ready for the change. The story mode is going to be great, but the online is questionable. How do you feel about it? I am not at all concerned or focused about the online because it doesn't appeal to me. I want, if the story is good and grounded and not like, you know, if the story is good, grounded, and not like stupidly, like, I don't know what word I want to use, almost like irreverent for the sake of being irreverent. It doesn't seem like it's going to be that way. I think a lot of people are going to claim that, like, oh, it's gone woke or it's gone safe or whatever. But I get the feel from the trailer that it's going to have a more realistic, more grounded vibe to it, which to me, I think is a good thing. That will actually probably make me roll credits on it. I'm curious if you can play through the campaign co-op. That's what I'm curious about. Can you play through GTA 5's campaign co-op? Is that even a possibility? Because if you can play through GTA 6's campaign co-op, and it's not like egregiously crazy and offensive, like I actually probably could play that with the wife, and we would potentially enjoy it. I don't know. I agree. To me, it could mean you took a long pass. You look long to pass the game, or it could mean you don't invest in gaming skills. It can mean different things to different people. Okay, question. What does the amount of hours played mean to anyone? And why is it important? And what does it mean? Oh, the amount of hours played in the game? The amount of hours played in the game a lot of times means how much you enjoyed it. No, you can't. Okay, you can't play GTA 5 co-op. Okay. Are you going to get the Elden Ring Night Rain game? Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely going to get the Elden Ring Night Rain game. Yep. You can't play GTA 5 campaign co-op. Okay. I had a lot of fun with GTA Online with my kids, just farting around the world, BMXing around the world, landing helicopters on semi. Yeah. There's a lot of just open world hijinks you can get into. Co-op campaign ain't happening unless they're going wild at Rockstar. Why would that be considered going wild? Wouldn't that just be an extension of the netcode that they've already got somewhat built or built for online? It's never been co-op? Lono, but does it have co-op? Yeah. I want a t-shirt. I want merch that says that. Does it have co-op? Come on, man. Listen. Did you think that you would ever hear me say, oh yeah, dude, I'm out here grinding Space Marine 2 with my wife? You know what I mean? Guys, double check that you've smashed the like button and double checked that you've renewed your membership. Double check that. We're about to hit 50 members on the day, and then I'll owe you 10 members. Somebody could bump this line by one and get us halfway to the first 100. You typically want to end Monday with that much to put us on pace. I'll also probably let you extend stream again today. I've been doing that every time we hit a milestone. I'm like, yep, we'll just keep streaming, because typically around 12:30 we roll over into the writer's room. Co-op campaign might be over delivery for Rockstar. San Andreas had co-op, but it was very limited. That's not gameplay, and co-op though as shirts would be great. Yeah. When you played through GTA 5, did it have two protagonists? Have they always done two protagonists like this that you play as? GTA San Andreas has a co-op element. Stop lying to this man. I kind of say has co-op, not for the story, but online allows you to have private servers to do stuff, but not the usual co-op. You Can't repo the assets of a dead man. Big sitting cheat. What are you saying, Darth Seth? And a single gifted comes in from DK Bager. There were 3 protagonists in GTA 5. Oh, okay. And Feed Chicken hits 26 months of memberships. There it is. I owe you guys 10 members. There we go. There they come. If you guys hit 100 on the day, I'll extend this all the way to 1 o'clock. I've been letting you guys do that. Usually around 12:30 we bail to writers, but I've been putting the show in your hands. If you want to keep things going, if you want to keep doing your Q&A, you guys can push the stream longer. I've been letting you guys extend the streams, and it's been a blast. You guys have been going crazy. So right now, you basically got 15 minutes to do it, and I appreciate everybody who's been making that happen. But him and Madam can still play it. Yeah, I mean, we could still play GTA 6, but I don't think that we would. I just don't think that we would. We're not going to boot up GTA 6 online and be running around the city getting into hijinks. That's just not our style. There's no way that's going to appeal to us. I can't see it. With the Bonnie and Clyde focus, I don't know. It would be really, really fitting to offer co-op for GTA 6. I'm not saying they're going to. I thought you was a GTA fan, but you don't know where that line is from. I have never, ever indicated I'm a GTA fan, ever. If, in fact, I pretty regularly said that I'm not like a big GTA guy. So, if you guys are tuning in, we have been talking about the GTA 6 trailer 2 that we did not get on the 27th. What about getting into hijinks with Hilly? Oh, I could totally see playing online with Hilly, for sure. Madam robbing a convenience store, I'd be dying. Oh, we will definitely make that an incentive on the channel, Dark Taco. Like, make Madam and I play Grand Theft Auto 6 on a Friday night or something. And we'll definitely be playing it with Hilly, for sure. I'm talking about, like, our couch co-op sessions. I just don't think we would be doing that. Like, I would do it for entertainment purposes, like for y'all, but I wouldn't be like, hey, babe, let's go see how many banks we can rob tonight. Like, the gameplay loop would really have to surprise us and scratch a bunch of itches for us to suddenly be like, yeah, we're definitely playing this on the regular. So, yeah. This is I'm a GTA waiting room fan, that's right. I've always said I'm a fan of GTA from a distance. Like, I appreciate how long-standing it's been, how popular the online is, how anticipated, GTA 6 as a game. It's been interesting to watch just the trailer and the community reaction to it as almost like a case study in, excitement about games and anticipation of games, right? Like, that certainly is, I think, something, worth paying attention to. But I'm never going to be like, yeah, I can't wait to dive into that game because I don't have a history with them. So, you want co-op, they want you online. No, I totally get that. And as an incentive and as something that the company wants, GTA 6 online is going to be an enormous focus for them, a huge focus, because they want to make money off of it. GTA 5 story was so good, had me locked in. Yeah, I'm hoping the story here is good. It looks like again they're setting up the GTA, setting to be more realistic, more grounded in the real world, which I celebrate. What if you made a game recommendation channel in the Discord for game voting? I'm not sure what you mean. Yo, what's good, Feed? Dope shirt, thank you. As a man of faith, I don't think GTA is your cup of tea. It depends on the story, Silent Spartan, right? It depends on the story. Like, if they're going to make you do things that are, like, pretty reprehensible, I'm going to be like, come on, man. But, a lot of those games, I feel like you can eat around that. And obviously, the online is, again, what you make of it. Robbing banks, okay. But going to, the more debaucherous sides of the game, that really wouldn't be our jam. That wouldn't be something that we would boot up the game to enjoy. How can people still play GTA 5 online? It feels so outdated. They improved the graphics, but not the animations. Even Red Dead Redemption Online is 100 times faster from the old fart GTA Online. Well, I mean, you've got to remember something, man. Once people get hooked by a game like that, they just kind of start living there. There were people that never stopped playing. I've got a friend of mine who, him and his buddies, they're all a little bit older than me. I'm in my 40s. I think they're in their 50s. And they still play on Call of Duty 2 servers. You know? That's just where they live. It's what they like. You can't judge a book by its cover, and Lona likes whatever he likes. It's his opinion. Well, it depends. It always depends on what the game has in it. You should definitely play GTA 5 story mode. It's worth it. I was a mule online in GTA 5, made a killing, but boy, it was risky business. Yeah, man. They're probably going to have you murder people. I'm not too concerned about, like, murder. Like, we've all played games where you're like the hitman or, you know, the gangster or the killer or the whatever. Not everybody's like a pure righteous hero. But if they're like, yeah, you got to go into this place and make this person, you know, pay them money so they take their clothes off or go sleep with that person or go, you know, that's the kind of stuff that I'm going to be like, yeah, no, thank you. You like in The Witcher 3, you can have like full on scenes, or you can just avoid it. You're like, yeah, I don't want to do that. Like I'm not playing games for that. That's not what I'm looking for. Some people, that's what they want. That's the fantasy they want to live, and that's fine. You know, and that's fine. They can do it. It's just not for me. By the way, guys, take a quick second and smash the like button. In about 8 minutes, usually around 12:30, we head over to the writer's room. But I've been letting you guys extend the stream, and I do that on the milestones. So if we hit 100 members, we'll keep on streaming and keep hanging out, and you guys can keep submitting your questions. So be sure to do that. Be sure to do that if you haven't done that already. And thank you so much to everybody who continues to gift. By the way, you can move the membership line with renewals. You don't have to gift or sign up brand new. You can sign up brand new, though, if you want to support the channel directly and submit questions like people are doing. Just make sure you pick Member Plus. We got a question here from Dave Langer. Should Microsoft make Elder Scrolls 6 next gen only so they're not handcuffed by the Series S? You know, I just don't know what their goals are for Elder Scrolls 6, because there was even a former dev that came out and said that he hopes they need to switch engines. They just can't stay on that engine anymore. I mean, he basically said, like, he launched a game in Unreal 5 that he never would have been able to do in that engine because it just takes too long, it's too outdated, it's too archaic. So I just don't know if they're ever going to be in a position, are they ever going to be in a position to say, oh no, yeah, we can switch engines. Like, my concern would be they just are too institutionally interwoven with creation. Like, I'm not as worried about the Series S. I'm more worried about that dadgum engine. A lot of people have talked about this. I've talked about this, and I saw a video about this the other day on YouTube. Basically arguing that both the creation engine and Todd Howard are a problem for the future of Bethesda titles like Elder Scrolls. Like, essentially arguing that, like, these things are going to hold back Elder Scrolls 6. Bless you, thank you. It's really, really hard not to agree with them. I've said it myself. That I feel like I like Todd Howard, but I feel like he's become a bit of a dinosaur. I feel like he's a problem. Like, he poses a potential threat to the future of anything they build. I believe that. I do. I believe that, like, he's stuck at some level. He's stuck in the past. Like, if you go and you listen to his interview with Lex Friedman, you'll hear it. you'll sort of hear his you'll hear his sort of outdated view on things, especially when he talks about the nature of 30 FPS. It's like, I want you to imagine if he holds on to that viewpoint and Elder Scrolls 6 launches in like 5 years and they're like, yeah, we think 30 FPS is fine. I'm like, I really, really try to imagine that. Like, forecast out in your mind where games are going and what people's expectations will be. And I want you to imagine his more, in my opinion, his more outdated view of things being sort of a shadow over this project. I don't even think the next-gen consoles will be out when Elder Scrolls 6 releases. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if you think they're targeting like, if you think they're targeting like the PS6 era. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. That doesn't seem like where it would land. I think it would land before that. Now I could be wrong. It might. They already have working versions of the game that they can play. Excuse me. They already have working versions of the games that they can play. So they mentioned that one like anniversary celebration or whatever. So they could be, I mean, they could be 4 years away from delivering it, and then it would land this gen. If they decide not to, and they decide to make it, you know, PS6 only or whatever the next Xbox is, man, I don't know about that. To wait that long for it and to limit its reach that much, like if it launches in like 2029 and it's only on the PS6 and it's only on like high-end rigs and it's only on whatever Xbox brings to the market, and it leaves behind Series S, Series X, PS5, PS5 Pro. You got to think, dude, by the time Elder Scrolls 6 comes to come out, the number of people who own a PS5, I don't know. Trajectories are looking very good for market saturation of the PS5. I can't imagine leaving that platform behind with Elder Scrolls 6. Bethesda can't get 30 FPS right, so I'm not surprised at Todd's view on frame rate. I just wonder if their time has passed. It's like you can't just keep making big, giant, you know, items are permanent games, and then that's all it takes, man. That's all anybody cares about. I mean, one of the main reasons they use the creation engine is because of how it can be modded and because of the things that you can do. And it's like, is that really going to be important in 4 years, 4 or 5 years? Like, I really mean this. I need people to see how gimmicky that's going to feel in 4 or 5 years, in 5 or 6 years. Oh, well, we use creation engine because of object permanence and, you know, your ability to collect all these cheese wheels, or your ability to do this, or your ability to do that. And we really want the modding community to be able to do this, that, and the third. I am so sorry, but that feels like a gimmick. It's like, I don't care about that. Do you? With the litany of open world experiences that we've had and the litany of RPG experiences that we've had, do you really think that letting the modding community do what they do and allowing a game to have like object permanence, you think that matters to the lion's share of the player pool out there in 5 to 6 years? You care, Lone Wolf? I got news for you. Most of the gaming world will be like, yeah, so what? So, I've played plenty of games where I can pick up everything. I've played plenty of games with really great open world RPG elements. I've played plenty of games with a thriving modding community. That doesn't matter. I just don't think people are going to want to engage in a creation engine game in 5 or 6 years. I don't think they're going to want to. I think they're going to turn their nose up to it. They're going to say this feels like an old dinosaur at this point. It feels outdated. They have so many problems. Their engine sucks, the writing's terrible, poor quest design, embarrassing AI, boring combat, poor optimization. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like in the grand scheme of things with how far they've come, and what they did with Oblivion and what they did with Skyrim and what they did with Fallout, like Starfield is not a crown jewel of anything. It doesn't feel like the culmination of all their life's work. It feels like a super outdated, uninteresting game, and the user score reflects that. I've been saying this since Starfield gameplay was shown. The game engine is super dated. They cannot keep making games in that engine. Yeah, I'm of the firm belief that if they dig in right now and they start building the Elder Scrolls 6 in that engine, I mean, put a fork in it. It's just not going to hit what people are going to expect. People are going to get accustomed to higher levels of performance and fidelity for the next 4 or 5 years, and then you're going to drop a game that feels like it's like pulled out of a vault somewhere. Lone Wolf says, I like seeing what players who mod stuff can come up with creatively. Some of the best Skyrim content was mods. Obviously, modding isn't exclusive to their games, but they've been really great at supporting them with tools and stuff. Yeah, and I got news for you. The lion's share of the video game user base is going to give a big fat I don't care about any of that. You're literally repeating a talking point right now that's gone around the Bethesda community for almost 20 years. First and foremost, it couldn't have gone around the community for 20 years because it only started getting most of its traction when Fallout 4 came out. Do we want to look at the success and the commercial scoring and the user scores of their games to prove that maybe it's because it's true? You don't think there's some truth to when Fallout 4 came out, people were like, man, this engine is really starting to show its wear and tear. This game's got some rough edges. And then what happens when Starfield comes out? The user score is abysmal. It's frickin' terrible. Why? Because of what people said when Fallout 4 came out. They said you can't keep using this engine. Look at Fallout 76. Isn't Fallout 76 in a different version of the engine, though? I'm pretty sure Fallout 70... What's the engine that Fallout 76 is in a different version of the engine because of the online, I thought. It says here Creation Engine. I thought it was like a modified version of the Creation Engine. Yeah, I don't know how you can look at the trajectory of their games and not conclude that, like, maybe the engine actually is a problem and people were correct when they said it in 2015 or 14 when Fallout 4 came out. Like, I don't get it. People had the same talking points about Oblivion coming out, talking about how Game Byro was too old, and yet they made it with Elder Scrolls 4, Fallout 3, and New Vegas. And then Creation Engine is just the same. Right, Lance. If you look at the scores of Fallout games, and then you look at the score of Starfield, and then you look at the score like Fallout 76, the trajectory is measurable. The engine has overstayed its welcome. The engine's overstayed its welcome. I don't think you can deny that at this point. The Starfield is 100% the result of using an engine that you have no business using in a next-gen landscape. It just doesn't work. It's just clunky, loading screen riddled, not at all very impressive game. And I think imagine Elder Scrolls landing like that. I'm not saying it's a problem. I'm saying that I would want that feeling to remain. And I'm afraid that it wouldn't. Yeah, I think you have to. I think you have to shed some of this stuff. I think you have to shed some of this stuff. Imagine Elder Scrolls landing in 4 or 5 years and looking like Starfield. Look at the NPCs in Starfield. Look at the environments. Look at the performance. Look at the UI. Look at the systems. Look at the loading screens. I want you to imagine Elder Scrolls 6 looking like that in 4 or 5 years. Like, it drops, and we've been playing games at 4K 60. We've been playing games at 1440 60 with ray tracing and high-fidelity textures and these amazing NPCs and mocap. I mean, look at Expedition 33. Look at the characters in that game. Look at the world. Look at the graphics. That's like a AA game. That's their first game. That'd be embarrassing to come out with a game that looks like Starfield in 4 or 5 years. It already is embarrassing to a certain degree. There are AA studios that are putting out games that just kick the dog snot out of Starfield with respect to like what it looks like and how it performs and how it even just feels like a game. The user score says it all. The user score says it all. It's overstayed its welcome. They are going to sunset themselves if they stay in that engine and they drop an Elder Scrolls that looks like Starfield. They're going to sunset themselves. Ain't nobody going to give a hoot about a game that looks and runs like that in 4 or 5 years. People are like, what is this? Yeah, and the modding tool Spice King, exactly. Like the console user base just doesn't really... I mean, there is a market, I think, for mods on console, but not to the same degree as PC. Another thing that probably won't be as much of an issue is the size of the game. Elder Scrolls 6 won't need to be as big as an entire universe of planets. Yeah, but even the way they built the planets, Lone Wolf, I would go up to a building and go to open the door, and I'd have to deal with a loading screen. Like even on a planet, I was dealing with that. It doesn't make any sense. Like the design of Starfield doesn't make any sense. Be careful, don't talk bad about Starfield. Doc's gonna show up. Listen, you can like Starfield, but the facts are the facts. The gaming community rejected that game. It has a terrible score everywhere. I've never seen such a strange commitment of defending mediocrity in my entire life. It's like, admit it. It's a mediocre game with a really bad user score for a reason. And if you drop an Elder Scrolls 6 in 5 years and it looks like that and it runs like that, put a fork in you, your company, and your game. Because you'll be so cooked. No, it'll be a joke. It'll be a meme. It'll be like, what is this? You can't do it. The performance that people are going to look for, the seamlessness of an open world that people are going to want, the feel of the game, you can play games from that era and they feel rough and not that great. And like the gunplay in Starfield is like fine. It's like serviceable. But you can't do that in 5 or 6 years and not expect people to be like, what the heck is this? What's live? No trailer release? No, there's no GTA 6 trailer 2. We did a waiting room on Friday, and they pretty much trolled us with their Instagram. A $5 super chat tip from Sneaky Wolf. Bethesda basically needs to get on CD Projekt Red's level post DLC. If the engine's so great and the game's so great, then why did Shattered Space land the way that it landed? Eugene says they were happy that they figured out ladders in that engine in effing 2023. They were happy about ladders. It didn't score well because of all the journalism with IGN. They basically ruined the reputation of the game before it came out. That is quite literally one of the worst takes I've ever read, because Starfield had a very decent score on Steam and on Metacritic when it came out. Its score plummeted as reality settled in and everybody else started coming and buying it and playing it. Not just the folks who pre-ordered it, and a bunch of people who pre-ordered it and they were like, well, this is a bucket of crap, I'm uninstalling, and they don't get their reviews counted because they uninstalled and they got a refund. There is absolutely no way. Yeah, Lone Wolf loves the game, and he even knows. It does not have a low user score because of, like, an IGN review. That's ridiculous. It got a low user score because users don't like it. If you go and read some of the low scores on Steam, they're from, like, long-standing Bethesda fans with hundreds of hours, and they're like, this game just fell so far below what I wanted. And I know people do this weird damage control, odd nonsense hand wave idiocy where they're like, well, those reviews don't count because if you played a game for 100 hours, you must have enjoyed it. It's like the lengths people go to try to act like the game score is not representative of the quality. It's like, it's just absurd. It's absurd. What's not true? There are reviewers taking away points over not seeing women in the game when they only did the first chapter. We're not talking about Black Myth Wukong. We're talking about Starfield. We're not talking about Black Myth Wukong. Like, why are you talking about Black Myth Wukong? There's no reviews about not seeing women in Starfield. You run into multiples during the opening hours of the game. You're talking about Black Myth Wukong. Have you seen the Doc video? I need to debate him on his video. Well, which one? Wukong again? These guys have Wukong derangement syndrome, man. They think if you're talking about review scores and user scores, that you're talking about Wukong. Wukong has an amazing user score. It ain't copium. Journalists gave the game an already bad impression before it came out. IGN with their articles. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. You are way out in left field on Mars. You're not even on planet Earth right now. Starfield got good treatment from the press, arguably treatment that it didn't deserve. It got treatment from the press that it didn't even deserve, brother. What you're saying is absolutely insane to me. It has an 83 on Metacritic. Should we go look at the Steam score and the Xbox score and what the users thought of it? You're trying to tell me that an 83 on Metacritic is why the user scores are low? Are you talking about Starfield? I feel like you're talking about a different game, dude. And if you're talking about Black Myth Wukong, what you're saying doesn't make any sense because Black Myth Wukong's score with users is absurdly high. It's not low. Starfield's user score is low. Black Myth's user score is not low. It's high. It's impressive. So if he's talking about Wukong, he's not even making any sense. To argue that the Black Myth Wukong reviews from outlets like IGN drop the user score, the user score is high. It's not low. You're not making any sense, my friend. If you're talking about Starfield's low user score, IGN didn't score it low because of not seeing women in the game. You're again thinking of Black Myth Wukong. You're crossing your mental wires. He says he's behind in live chat. Yeah, he might be responding to past me. That's true. All right, well, we went long. I tell you what I'll do. I'll schedule writer's room for 1 o'clock. All right, I'll let you guys. I'll give you 17 minutes. You need 49 members in 17 minutes. All right, at 1 o'clock we'll go to writer's room. At 1 o'clock we'll go to writer's room. And if you guys hit 100 members, we'll extend. I'll go past that. We'll go to like 1:30. I've been letting you guys extend the stream if you want. So double check to see if you've got renewals. Super chats can add to the total, as well as if you're VIP or Member Plus. If you upgrade to Member Plus or VIP, it counts as 2. Can't always go with what the critics say. Remember, the critics once panned films like Shawshank Redemption and Fight Club back in the 90s. Critics are not always right. Yeah, to me, it's not about the media or the critics. To me, I've always said the most reliable barometer of a game's quality is the user score. If you go to buy a game and it's got like a 70%, you know it's going to have rough edges. You know there might be issues. If you go to get a game and it's got like a 94%, you're going to be like, okay, this game must be crushing it. People seem to really like it. Now, Black Myth Wukong is a bit of an exception because on PlayStation 5, it performs poorly and it's still got a good score. I again think that people can't tell. They can't tell that it's performing poorly either because they're used to running games at quality or I don't know. Maybe they're not as perceptive about frame rate issues or input delay or input latency. But there are objective problems with Wukong on PlayStation, as has been traced, recorded, and documented by Digital Foundry. So that's not even up for debate. It's a matter of people aren't really perceiving it, I guess. Starfield was called the game of a generation before release. I don't even remember where that originated from, to be quite honest with you. Hellblade seems to be an exception too. It's still in the high 80s on Steam. Well, I think the difference with Hellblade is you had such a small user base that actually bought it. I don't think it sold particularly well. So it was kind of like whenever I pointed to the Kill the Justice League score in its opening week. It had a pretty decent score because the people that bought it liked it. Everybody else skipped it. Like, the people that were hating on Justice League didn't buy it. You know what I mean? I just the total number of reviews for Hellblade 2 is so low. What about Hellblade on Xbox though? Hellblade 2 Xbox store. What about its actual like home platform where a bunch of people didn't have to pay for it? All right, you guys got 14 minutes. 14 minutes. Thank you for the renewal. Louis Drake Gaming with 8 months. I don't know if this counts, but let's keep it going. Anyways, Wukong won Player's Choice at the Game Awards with 100%. Of course it did, because you had an entire region of the world voting for it and nothing else. Wait. Oh. No. No, I had breakfast. Yeah. Louis Drake Gaming, your member renewal counts if it's member plus or above. If you want to try to upgrade, there's an upgrade command that I'll use in chat. And every time somebody upgrades, I count it as 2, because we really need about 50 of you to upgrade and get off of the standard tier. Because when you're at the standard tier, I can't tell the difference between you and a gifted member. And GC Plug says, all right, let's get it going, boys. That's the first one. 52. Thank you so much, GC Plugs, for gifting a member. Yeah, it has an 88 on Xbox. Hellblade 2 has an 88 on Xbox. Not everybody has to agree with me. I thought that game was an utter disappointment and a regression. Apparently, the people that bought it or played it on Game Pass liked it a whole lot more than me. So be it. I think it is nothing compared to the first game. Like, it's a shell of a game in comparison. So, Gaza submits a question as a member. This is something you can do when you become a member. He says, I know the hot topic is GTA 6, but have you played GTA 5 so far? How far did you get online? No, I didn't. I played GTA 5 once way back in the day for like a bounty on the purple platform, and it just didn't do anything for me. What did you see disappointing about it? There was, outside of Melina Juergen's performance and the graphical fidelity of the game, those two things were fine. The performances, the voice acting, I thought the writing was also fine. Everything else was terrible. Story, terrible. Gameplay, terrible. Puzzles, terrible. There was nothing about it that elevated from the first game. Like, nothing. Everything regressed backwards. If you've ever seen anybody do a combat breakdown of Hellblade 2 versus Hellblade 1, I mean, it's embarrassing that people, like, they literally showed how ignorant they are when they couldn't believe that I claimed that the combat in Hellblade 2, they couldn't believe that I said it was like a QuickTime event. Do you want to know why? Because they're bad at video games and they can't tell. That's why. If you play Hellblade 1 and then you play Hellblade 2 and you can't understand why I say it's basically a QuickTime event, homie, you might as well just put that game on autopilot because you're bad. Like, you can't tell the difference. You can't tell the fact that, like, you're not actually doing anything. You're just responding to press time cues where you press it and then it does everything for you. I legitimately think people lack the ability to perceive. They lack the perceptive power to tell that in Hellblade 2, you are almost entirely out of the equation. It's nothing like the first game. There is no moment-to-moment swings, blocks, parries, or dodges. It's all these pre-scripted, fully animated sequences. It is terrible. It is one of the worst decisions I've ever seen a developer make, ever. To take a combat system from a first game that was accused of being maybe a little bit too simplistic and turning it into basically a movie, I still do not understand why they did that. Yeah, the game has an autoplay feature. Do you want to know why? Because you're not doing anything other than engaging with an elaborate QuickTime event. That's why it can play itself. I can't believe that was even a discussion back then. They're like, this guy's crazy. He says this is a QuickTime event. You can literally let the game play itself because, yes, they turned the combat into a glorified QuickTime event. You just can't tell. It's the same reason people can't tell that Black Myth Wukong is dropping their inputs, because they don't have the perceptive ability. You make fun of me all you want, call me a fraud, and say that I only play games that hold my hand, and yet you're out here saying Hellblade 2's combat's amazing and not a QuickTime event, and that Black Myth doesn't drop inputs. I tell you who the fraud is. It ain't me. All right? It ain't me. Go beat Sekiro, I have. Go beat Sekiro, and then go play Black Myth on PS5 and tell me it's not dropping inputs. Go play Sekiro or go play Hellblade 1 and then play Hellblade 2 and tell me it's not a glorified QuickTime event. You suspect. You don't have the perceptive powers to tell what's going on. Because if you did, you'd have said the same thing I said. You'd be like, what is this? I'm not a part of the combat. There's no moment to moment. The player volition is gone. It's not there. Genuine assessment of that game. Nobody would be able to walk away and not say it. They can't tell. Hellblade 2 is not amazing gameplay, great visuals, not great gameplay. Listen, like I said, Hellblade 2's graphical fidelity and the performances from the people and even the writing is all excellent. Everything else is terrible. Puzzles and the gameplay, the flow of the game, the story, absolutely terrible. It's one of the biggest regressions I've ever seen. They made a piece of art in the first game. It's this cult classic. It's amazing. People loved it. It was awesome. And then you get into Hellblade 2 and you're like, what is this? It would almost be like if you swapped them, it would make more sense. Like if Hellblade 2 was their first outing and they got sort of obsessed with like mocap and they got sort of obsessed with graphical fidelity and it kind of held aspects of the game back, Hellblade 1 feels like a step up because it's like, oh wow, the combat's more moment to moment. The combat features more player volition and more fluidity and more speed. Oh wow, I've got more control over where my character can go. Oh wow, the puzzles are actually more creative. I'm serious. If you play them in the reverse order, Hellblade 1 feels like an evolution of Hellblade 2. The problems with the story? Nothing happens. Nothing happens. There's no character arc. There's no growth. There's nothing. It's the same thing every time. Senua goes into an environment. They say she can't do it. She somehow figures out that she can do it. And then you get to the end, and then that's it. She just, like, fights this guy. So many people broke down the story, and they were like, as soon as it started to get good, it ended. I thought we were just getting ready to start. As soon as Hellblade 2 starts doing something, a 50 bomb from MASH says, you aren't done for the day. You are a madman, MASH. Unbelievable. Jiminy Christmas. I was like, we're getting out of here in 6 minutes. No, we're not. Purple says, you're starting to sound like me. I absolutely adore the first game. Like, we haven't talked about this in a while, so some of this is like pent-up disappointment. Like, I almost did like the top 10 worst games this year, and that game would have been number one. Like, just such a regression. Such a regression. If you told people that Hellblade 2 came out first and that Hellblade 1 was like a prequel that came after the fact, and you were able to like turn the graphics down to trick them, because the graphics would be a dead giveaway that Hellblade 2 came second. I'm here to tell you, people would believe you. They'd be like, oh yeah, Hellblade 1 is such a step up from Hellblade 2. Should we have 400 as a goal, or are you streaming on the first? I will adjust the goal if I take that day off, Hotshot, because I don't know what I'm doing right now. But anytime I take a day off like that, yeah, we'll lower the goal by 100. Yeah. What's Sven saying here? Hang on a second. Sven says, very pretty game, amazing voice cast. My opinion on it soured later on. I didn't feel the QTE feeling that you're describing, but it did feel watered down and simplistic. What happened to all the challenging and unique puzzles in the first game? What happened to the unique boss fights at the end of each chapter? That's exactly right. Thank you, MASH. Again, I don't even know what to say. We need some folks to step up and match this man, dude. Be a tag team partner with this guy. I liked Hellblade 2 about as much as Hellblade 1. Both 7 out of 10 for me. Neither stood out. Yeah, that's totally fine, MASH. That's totally fine. Hellblade 1 was extremely special to me. I really, really did. I adored it. And I played through it multiple times. And Hellblade 2 was a regression in almost every way. In almost every way. The puzzles, the combat. I mean, oh my gosh. Just walking and walking and walking and walking and walking. You talk about a walking simulator. Good golly. I did find Hellblade a majestic game, and I loved it. Oh, you liked Hellblade 2. However, the combat's a joke, says Hilly. I played through with the half-broken bumper button. After finishing, played another game and found out the button's not working. It proves your point. Yeah, because you're not... Yeah, oh golly. It's just such... Trailer dude... I don't have a trailer to date. Ahmed... I don't. There is no GTA 6 trailer to date. There isn't. And Sneaky Wolf with the 5 bomb says, I'll help out. Let's keep it going. He says, let's extend this stream even more. I put the stream in y'all's hands now. And every time y'all hit those milestones, I help out. I owe you guys 5 right now. I heard your reasoning, though, for the 2 Hellblade games, and I totally understand. Trailer 2 date, please. What? Listen, man. He made his account 3 months ago. All right, I'll tell you what. You're done. Lona's still hiding the GTA 6 trailer. I am, dude. I am totally still hiding it. That's my jam. And a single gifted comes in from Joker Quinn and bumps the line to 108. We have some of the most generous people on the platform here. Thank you so much, Joker Quinn. 20. Okay. There we go. The company didn't even have faith in Hellblade 2, Lona. The game wasn't even promoted. I mean, that might have just been a limited marketing budget, though. That might have just been a limited marketing budget. You never know. You never know. You know what I'm saying? They could have said that, you know, let's keep the marketing spend low because of, you know, other reasons. That's always possible. That they said, well, keep the marketing spend low because, you know, the demand for the game is going to be at this threshold or something like that. I don't think that was like they didn't believe in their game. It might have just been like a smaller budget for marketing spend. Is there news about the PS6? Yes, I included that in my show open. So if you've never been here before, I always open the show with like 15 to 20 minutes of gaming news, and then we just discuss everything for, you know, hours. Depending on how many people gift and become members, that can extend the stream beyond what my typical schedule is, which is what we're doing now. We're going to go for like another 30 minutes because people are crazy and generous. So the PS6 window will be in the same timeline as what people originally expected. And the reason for that is they essentially said that they don't want to hold back the next gen just because this gen's doing so well or is going to last for so long. So essentially, the reason he was answering the question is, I think people were sensing, this is what I think people were sensing, that I think they were sensing that like PS5 is basically going to last longer. And because it's going to last longer, people were thinking, oh, is that going to push back the PS6? And the answer to the question was no, it's not. It's not going to push back the PS6. So the same window of time. So likely then the PS6 will be landing in 2028. It may land 2029, but he was basically saying they are not going to push back the PS6 because of the PS5. Because I think people are sensing, oh, PS5 along with the PS5 Pro, it's gonna last a while. You got to remember during their one earnings call, they said that we were entering into the second half, basically the latter half of the gen, which means once 4.5 years or so gets behind us, there's probably another 4.5 years in front of us, giving a window of time for the PS6 likely landing 2028 or 2029. No, nobody talked about Wolverine. No. There's a fake piece of footage running around out there. Somebody like modded a game and claimed that it was Wolverine on the PlayStation, and it's not true. And I don't think Wolverine's coming in 2025, if you want my honest opinion. I don't think it is. So. Hang on. My phone's being stupid. Let me take a question here from Citizen JV. He says, have you played The Outer Worlds? And if so, what are your thoughts on The Outer Worlds 2? I liked Outer Worlds when I played it. I did. I liked Outer Worlds when I played it. We had a lot of fun with it. I did like a character and we were goofing. But then I had to... Back then, I don't even remember. I think I did that on Twitch. And so a lot of what happened to me back then is I would be playing a new game and I'd have to put it down and go back to Destiny because Destiny would release new content or something. So like my engagement with games back then is all over the place because of that. That it is. It's all over the place because of that. Let Insomniac cook. Yeah, I'm of the opinion let him cook. Guys, take a quick second. If you haven't smashed the like button, smash the like button. We're going to keep going for another 30 minutes. We were going to go to Writer's Room at 1. We hit 100 members thanks to MASH. So we're going to keep going. Congrats on hitting 50K. Thank you. Everybody who made 50K possible, thank you so much for getting the channel to 50K subscribers. We're going to keep going, but I am going to take a brief break. I got to use the restroom whenever we go past 3 hours like this. So submit some questions. Hit the like button. Maybe gift or renew or upgrade some members while I'm gone. Also, don't forget about the coffee. I'll be right back, and we'll keep the discussion going. All right, I'm back. Francis Forehead was on Twitch 100%. Was a fun time. That's right, yeah. Back then when I was a Twitch streamer, like, we would always have to immediately, like, revert back to Destiny. So I never got to, like, finish games or play them to completion almost ever. Yeah. So, hang on. I gotta deaden the ring. My daughter is, and fam, she's got eye therapy. They're going to, and like the ring's just gonna keep pinging me. I'd be disappointed if they don't make my boy Wolverine sick in the gameplay. I think they're going. I think I read that they're going for a rated R. Like it's gonna be a mature game. There were people worried that it wasn't going to be. So, I think it will. I think they'll make Wolverine like a more mature style game for sure. So, but back to the question about Outer Worlds 2. I could see myself playing Outer Worlds 2, but again, this is what it always comes down to for me right now. Can I play through the game piecemeal and enjoy it? Right? So can I play a game an hour a night and have a good time with it? That's question 1. Okay? Question 2, if not, is it a game I can play with my wife? Because then I can. Space Marine 2 was kind of both. I could have played it an hour a night and had a great time with it. I also am playing it with my wife. So, like an example would be, imagine that Death Stranding 2 was co-op, right? It would be the perfect game for us because it would just be slow. It's a really unique and cool story, right? Navigating the open world and doing stuff would be hilarious, like trying not to drop packages and stuff. But I don't know if I can play that game slowly an hour a night and feel like I'm making any progress. It would take me a month to probably even get remotely close to the end. So that's always where I land on, is like, okay, the first question is, can I enjoy this game in like 1 hour slices? Because be honest with yourself, a lot of you guys and gals that play games, you're not playing a game for an hour. You're probably playing for 2, sometimes 3. Now, if I could play for 2, sometimes 3, then a game like Death Stranding would be perfect. It'd be a great way to unwind, right? If I was sitting down on the couch every night around 9 o'clock and could go until 10, 11, and 12, oh, it's midnight, time to go to bed, right? Put in those 3 hours, wake up the next day, do all of this with y'all, then I would be able to play through games like Death Stranding. But that's just not where I am right now in life. I can't do that. I'm not in a position where I can basically say, all right, babe, Monday through Friday, I've got the TV on lock, playing Death Stranding. I don't need to be similar to Space Marines co-op. I just, because of my limited playtime, that's where I can play, and trying to do gameplay here is just a dadgum nightmare. We play launch date, everybody's excited, and it does really, really well. Some of my biggest viewed streams are me checking out a game's gameplay. And then if I try to go back to a game with any regularity and finish it, the numbers are terrible because people are like, well, we subbed to you for a talk show. Nobody is subbing to this channel for gameplay. I'm an adept, perfectly fine, serviceable player. I'm not a top-level player. I never will be. I don't care to become one. And so you're just never going to be like, oh, you've got to watch this guy play through these games. Obviously, back in the day, we could be more experimental when the channel was smaller and we did stuff like From Fridays. We do not have that luxury now. We don't have that luxury. I can't just basically do self-indulgent things like, well, I'm just going to play this game. You know what I mean? Be honest, you don't want to play Death Stranding. I don't need to be told to be honest by somebody I've never interacted with before. I am being honest with you. I want to play it. I liked it when I played it. I like the cast. I like the premise. I'm not being dishonest, right? I mean, people like you, genuinely, I don't get why you think like I'm being dishonest. Like, what do I have to gain by saying I want to play a game that I actually don't want to play? I am usually more apt and more quick to say I'm not interested in that game. I don't want to play it. That tends to be my posture. Alan Wake 2 is a game I really want to play, but it doesn't feel like a game I could enjoy in an hour spurt. I feel like I would just get started kind of doing something or piecing something together, and then it'd be like, well, I got to stop. We got to watch a show, or, I got to take a break. There's no reason for me to be dishonest. It's like there are plenty of games I'm like, yeah, that's not for me. I'm not going to play it. Like, I don't hold back in that regard. One of the most popular games on PlayStation this year, I didn't touch. FF7 Rebirth. Didn't touch it. Didn't have any interest in it. My friend said that Death Stranding's a walking sim with bad cutscenes. There are people that felt that way, and there are people who felt the exact opposite way and thought that it was great. They thought it was a masterpiece. What about a gameplay only channel, or would that not be worth it? Difficulty of a gameplay-only channel, Philip, is I can't let you bring your memberships with you, so everybody always gets confused. They're like, where's my membership, right? And for a while, it was like, okay, people will double dip, and I didn't mind people double dipping, but then I think that just there's bad optics on that. It's like you're paying for 2 memberships. Like, why? And I also wouldn't want people gifting memberships on another channel. So if I had the ability to have your memberships come with you and we could go over and regularly play a game, we would do it. But that's just not something we can do right now. It's not in the cards. It's not something that YouTube offers. So start a game and let Madam finish it. That wouldn't work either. She wouldn't want to. If you need something with constant action, it's just not going to be for you. Yeah, and I don't even want constant action right now either. That's why Death Stranding kind of appealed to me. I was like, maybe I could play it and like Madam could kind of get into the story of it and would almost be like watching a TV show together. Because the story is pretty, I think the story is pretty cool and pretty interesting. But even then, like if I could like squeeze out maybe 2 hours a night, it's just gonna take a lifetime to beat that game. What is it, like 40 something hours just to complete it? What did Cloud do to you? That's just not my game, man. You gonna complete GTA 6 walkthrough story mode? It depends. I'm gonna try it and see if I like it. Wasn't Wolverine game announced like 3 to 4 years ago? It was announced, what was it, 2020 or 2021? Yeah. A lot of games do that whenever it's the beginning of a generation. So they were getting people hyped up for the new era, the new gen of PlayStation, and then games take a long time to come out. I mean, Hellblade 2 took 5 years to come out from the time that it was advertised. State of Decay 3, same thing. It just got delayed. A lot of games were promoted in 2020 and 2021 as almost like a vision cast of like, here's everything coming this gen. And then they take 4 or 5, sometimes 6 years to come out. I prefer them to not do that. I like when a game gets announced, it needs to come out within at least, I think, 2 years. But if you're not interested in the game, if Lono's not interested in the game, he will absolutely say it. I've had to deal with you disrespecting Avowed for the last 2 years. Mick Dio9 says, I popped the Death Stranding Platinum at 137 hours. The story took me 50. Yeah, that's just not a game you can casually play, bro. You know what I mean? The average person rolling credits on Death Stranding 1 is not, if you go and look at like their average play sessions, they're not playing that game an hour at a time. Ain't no way. Ain't no way, bro. Gameplay of Death Stranding may not be for everyone, but the story was great, and Kojima's stories always have more to them than meets the eye. Big Gun DCU movie news. Jason Momoa has been recast as Lobo, so much better than Aquaman. Literally perfect casting. Yeah, I'll say so. He looks just like him. Purple says 2 years is the absolute max. I prefer 12 months, similar to cinema. Yeah, once you get outside of 2 years, Purple Haze, I'm just annoyed. I'm like, why did you tell me about this? Because now I'm excited about it and I'll never get it. You know what I mean? Like, delayed gratification's great and all, but what the frick are we doing here? you know? What are we doing here? you get outside of you get outside of, you know, 2 years and like, come on, man. Just leave me alone. Wolverine announcement trailer was September of 2021. Okay, yeah, so it's been 3 years. Yeah, I don't think it's coming out next year. I don't. Maybe they're holding on to it. Maybe they're holding on to it for the second half of next year as like a surprise summer announcement, but I would not hold my breath, boys. And I'll tell you why. Commentary from Herman Holst about next year. I believe I saw this. I need to double check myself. I believe that he spoke of Ghosts of Yotei and Death Stranding 2 in the same sentence. As if he's viewing that as their two big games next year. I believe I saw that. I think in their mind, Death Stranding 2, Death Stranding 2 is their other big game next year, because it's probably a exclusive for like a year or so. I don't think the data breach caused any delays, no. The game is not coming out next year, so shut up about it. You know where I'm at. You know nothing. What are you talking about, Cuban Gamer? Who are you talking about? Your account's 2 months old. That's fine. Any chance to check out the new Helldivers update? I'm loving it personally and can see myself sinking a couple hundred more hours into it again. No. Until they overhaul certain elements of that game, I'll log in, spend my medals, and log right back out again. I loved it. I put in 80 hours, but I know people are enjoying it. I do. I know people are enjoying it. I know they're enjoying the new enemies and all that. I'm good. I got enough of Helldivers until they do like a total overhaul of certain things like the war bonds and some of the I don't know. Just elements of the game where I'm like, yeah, I had fun. I had 80 hours of fun and I don't really need to play anymore unless there's some pretty significant changes. GTA 6 not setting a firm timeline is making it hard for others. Somehow I'm blaming you for this. It's not my fault, Purple. I didn't do it. I feel like I'm Han Solo. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. Listen, I said that earlier, though, Purple. I said, we know that outside of the summer, like Mafia the Old Country said summer of 2025, we know nothing beyond that. Nobody's committing to dates, times, or windows. The only game that's committed to something beyond summer is GTA 6. They said fall. They said fall of 2025. I do agree with the war bonds because they're stacking up. It's absurd, Ashen. It is absurd. I boot up, get my medals, and I buy a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, this is overwhelming. Like, I can't imagine new or returning player onboarding can't be great when they look at the war bonds. Like, it's crazy. That's treason. Democracy must be spread. The game is being developed for 15 years now, and it's still in early development. What? Talking about GTA 6? All right, guys, in 10 minutes, we will go to the writer's room and get, unless you guys extend again. I can't let you extend in for an eternity. I can't let you do it, but you can extend one more time. If we get to 150, which means you need 42, Mash, you're not allowed. You're not allowed to. We'll go to writer's room at 1:30. Did I schedule it yet? No, I haven't scheduled it yet. I'm gonna wait. Let me do this. There we go. Oh, you're talking about Beyond Good and Evil 2? I mean, that game, you talk about being stuck in development hell. That game's in development hell. I mean, that game's stuck, bro. They hooked a bunch of returning players with the new enemy type and map type. Yeah, that's fine. But I also think there's probably a lot of returning players that are like me, Trill. I mean, you can look at the player counts and you can totally see that a lot of us haven't come back yet. Because we boot up and we're like, yeah, this is still crazy. This is a huge turnoff. You know, and I just think people get to a point with the game where they're like, yeah, I've had my fill. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's always a challenge with a live service game. It's always a challenge with a live service game. I got to a point where I was just like, I'm good, man. This was fun. I had a lot of fun with it. I could always come back and we could always do a community game night or something, or a community game day with it. But my backlog is so dadgum big, the last thing I want to do is go play more Helldivers. Like, I would much rather play Space Marine 2 with Madam, or grab a game from the backlog and work on it, you know? If Trailer 2 does release, will you be the first to let us know? I probably won't be the first to let you know, homie. Unless they schedule it and we all watch it together, it will very likely I think it's just going to, like, they'll just drop it on, like, a Tuesday afternoon or something. I don't know. Marvel Rivals are resetting your season currency with the start of a new season. Not totally sure how I feel about that. Big Helmet Heroes needs to hurry up. I need a game. Yeah, dude. Did you play you can play the demo on Xbox or Steam. I didn't want to play it on Xbox because I only have one controller. All my controllers have stick drifts, and I was like, let's just wait. The demo was great. It looked to me like Castle Crashers with a better focus on combat. Castle Crashers combat always was, to me, it was like fun, but it was so one-dimensional, and then it could get really punishing at times. That the Big Helmet Heroes looks like there's more to the combat, which I like. Wonder how many times Beyond Good and Evil 2 has been scrapped and restarted, like Skull and Bones. It's basically a new generation Castle Crashers, but the combat feels really good. Death Stranding's longest cutscene is like 30 minutes. Oh, is somebody claiming? I saw somebody saying 90 minutes. I'm like, I think that's an exaggeration. All right, guys, in 8 minutes, you've got 8 minutes. Double check to make sure that you've renewed or celebrated your renewal. Thank you, everybody who's already done that today. And if you haven't hit the like button, try to do that. We need 40 more likes for 400. Thanks for that. Does Madam have a preferred class to you? Sorry, just love the fact that that's your current co-op game. I'm playing as... She's playing as the far left one. What's that? Assault, I think? And then I'm playing as the one... I can just look them up. Hang on. Because I know where they are. I know what they look like. Let's see. Here we go. She's playing as Tactical. I'm playing as Vanguard. Yeah. She's playing as Tactical. Is Vanguard the one with like the grappling hook? Whichever one has the grappling hook. I don't know. I'm trying to find... According to Games Radar, S tier is Bulwark. He tops the list, joined by the robust heavy class. Both are great for holding objectives, defending teammates, and getting kills. Bulwark. I can't tell what they're doing here. Oh, for PvE, they say Bulwark is S tier. Tactical and Sniper are A tier. Vanguard and Heavy are B tier. And then C tier is Assault. Okay. Yeah, I didn't like Assault. I played as Assault because I really liked the jetpack, but dude, it limited my gun so much. I was like, babe, I'm barely able to help here. I mean, I was doing work with the hammer, but good combo. Highlight enemies for you to kill and then just go ham. Yeah, she needs to use the highlight ability more often. She gets a little overwhelmed sometimes and forgets that, like, hey, she needs to use your ability more. But yeah, we're having a good time with it. I had no idea we were going to like it the way that we did. We just tried it one night on a whim. I was playing, and I was getting close to the end. And I was like, babe, you can play with me. I wonder if you would like this. And we played, and like an hour later, like we were having an absolute blast. Just a freaking blast. Her favorite thing was doing all the executions. You know? I really, really wish I would have played through the whole game with her, because I don't know about replay value of like replaying through the story. I don't know, like, if we would enjoy it that much, you know, because the story's good, the gameplay's good, but like grinding operations has been pretty fun. We'll try it with a bot and see how it goes. Assault gets passable at level 20 plus, but it's so booty chicks until then. Yeah, you just have nothing. We played with a guy who I think had leveled him up because he was doing way more than I could. He was like going up and doing the big slam, and it wasn't letting me do that. Can you not do the big slam when you first start out with Assault? I just assumed when I saw him doing it, Madam was like, well, he's doing it. I was like, he must have unlocked it as a perk or something. I was like, I couldn't do it. All I was doing was dashing forward. Play Operations more, you'll like it. We're liking it just fine. The biggest headache is that we'll get match made with the player who just runs ahead, and then they would spawn a wave, and the one time, literally, all the enemies spawned around Madam, and she's like, I can't move. And I'm like, what happened? And then we realized, oh, this guy's going ahead, and he's spawning the waves. And so we were like scrambling to always stay with the guy. So then we didn't get to search or find stuff or look for ammo, armor boosts or ammo or any of that. So, all right, hang on. We got 3 minutes, and we're going to get out of here. I'm going to schedule Writer's Room in 3 minutes, and we're going to go. I got 2 questions here left in the question queue. GC Plug says, so on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, I'm working a double at my job, but my second job, which I'm really trying to get full-time, also wants me to work in between. I need advice. Okay, hang on a second. On New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, you're working a double, but your second job, which you're trying to get full-time, also wants me to work in between. I need advice. Good golly. I would need to know more about the second job. This is a rough time of year to try to get full-time because as the new year starts, I would need to know the industry. I would need to know the likelihood of them bumping you to full-time in the new year. Usually the opposite happens once you roll over into the new year. A lot of the times you roll over into a new year and they're like, no, we're not doing any full-time right now because you just come out of the holiday season. Tell them to F off. No, don't do that. Yeah, your second job, they want you to work in between, and you're trying to go full-time there. I would need a percentage of the likelihood you can go full-time there. I would be nervous going into January putting any eggs in that basket. Just knowing what I know about companies and full-time and January is like the lead month for temporary workers getting let go and companies tightening, not expanding. Like bumping you to full-time in January, is that a likelihood? You know? I don't know if I'd put eggs in that basket. Yeah, and do they know you're working somewhere else? Like, do you guys have like a mutual understanding of like your current situation? That'd be what I want to know. All right, we got 1 minute. 1 minute. I don't think you guys are going to get 42 members in a minute, and that's fine. We're on pace for the week. GC Plugs with a $5 super chat says, the second job's a doorman position in Manhattan. It's a really nice gig, but I'm just relief worker there. I need to be there more to get full time. They know I work another job. Okay. I think the best policy in this situation would be to be upfront with them. I should have just gifted. No, it's fine. 2 more super chats. You guys will make confetti, and then I have to add to the gifted. So you added to that. I would just be upfront with them, and I think they would respect that. Like if you went to whoever you report to at the doorman job, you said, listen, I'm in a really tough spot right here because I'm working a double, and I know you guys want me to be here more, and I want to be here more. I want to go full time here, but that's just not in the cards on this particular date. Give me everything you... Is there a way for you to go to them and say, here are the time slots that work the best for me. Give me everything you've got. Like, you show them your commitment and your honesty, and I think that goes a long way. Like, they're not going to be like, oh, I don't believe it. You don't want to come and work in between a double? They'd be like, well, no, that's completely understandable that you wouldn't want to come and work in between a double. But your commitment to us and your transparency, your honesty, and saying, hey, here are time slots that work for me. Give me everything you got. I'm committed. I want to go full time here. I think that would go a long way. If I was in charge and a guy came to me and said that, it would tell me that I've got a team player that I want on my team. That's what it would tell me. I wouldn't be like, well, this is completely unreasonable. You don't want to work in between double? Like, I'd be like, well, no, that makes perfectly good sense. And we probably wouldn't want you to. You'd be tired. You know, you'd be worn out. It'd be rough. You know, that makes for a bad worker. So that's what I would do. That's what I would respond to as a manager or a leader. He can come an hour late on New Year's. I'm leaving my other job, so head there. If they're desperate for you to come and work that day, and he's like, you can come in an hour late, there's another thing that makes you very memorable. If you're the guy that they can rely on when they're in a pinch, and especially when they know that you're stretching yourself to do it, I think that communicates volumes as well. It might be worth it. Like if he's like, man, you can even come an hour late. Like if they're kind of desperate, that's really memorable as a manager. You're like, yo, that's our man. He steps up when we need it the most. Like that's also just as memorable. I think you could win either way you handle it, honestly. The guys that step in when help is needed, they're the ones that are remembered when it's time for like raises or promotions or new position openings. They're like, that's our guy right there. You hate being that guy. There are companies that can totally take advantage of you. It doesn't sound like this is one of those situations. Don't they will call you more? But no, that's what he wants. That's what he wants. You might have missed it. He wants to go full time. He wants to work there more and take more shifts so that they'll transition him into full time. That's what he wants. So no, he wants them to call him more. $5 super chat from GC Plugs. Yeah, my main issue is it's 40 hours straight I'm working. I'm going to die. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I know. Oh, yeah, that could get kind of dangerous. You got to be careful. Has hell frozen over? Half-Life 3 has moved into the next stage of playtesting. All right, one more super chat will make it rain confetti. You're not going to hit the member goal, so we're already late. I'm going to schedule Writer's Room right now, and then we're going to go over to it. We got one more question from Gaza. Are you a Marvel's fan? If so, have you played Guardians of the Galaxy, that new Marvel game? I liked Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't finish it, though, because, again, that was at a time where we were having to bounce back to something else. But Guardians of the Galaxy was a good little game that didn't get a fair shot because of... it didn't get a good shot, and it was mainly because of Avengers. Marvel Rivals is not my cup of tea. It's basically Overwatch, and I don't like games like that. They're meat grinders. I don't enjoy them. I played it with Hilly and had fun for about 5 minutes, and then the fun factor wears. As soon as you're in the meat grinder of like, run to a choke point, get a kill, die. Run to a choke point, get 2 kills, die. Run to a choke point, get a couple kills, die. I'm like, my mind checks out, bro. It's just a meat grinder. The repetition of it, the similarity of it, the familiarity breeding contempt. I hit the contempt pretty fast. Yeah. All right, hang on. I got to set up redirect, and then I do owe you guys 5 members for that super chat. So that is going to bump this to 113. Your guys' super chats make me add to the total, so thank you so much. I'm going to do this on our way out. If you get a gifted member from me or today like you did from MASH or from anybody else, man, you get to come with us. No, JW got his confetti. He finally got his confetti. I just realized. He said, I can't believe I finally got it. All right, hang on. Let me give you guys a link. Some of you guys have been saying that redirect doesn't work, okay? If redirect doesn't work, rather than complain about that in the next stream, just use the link in chat, all right? It's real easy to click the link in chat. There's no reason to rely on redirect if it's not been consistent for you, okay? I think they made an update. Redirect seemed to go way better today at the end of the premiere. So I think they have made it better, but so. All right, click the link in chat. Let's go to Writer's Room. Hey, thanks so much for being a member to the channel. We had a huge week last week, and you probably got a gifted member on Friday when we were doing the GTA 6 Trailer 2 waiting room, and we hit 50K subscribers. It was the biggest stream I've ever done. So thank you to everybody who made that possible. And if you're like, well, what's the writer's room? Why am I seeing this? This is sort of a behind-the-scenes look for members only that you get access to as a gifted member, or if you're paying for your membership. We are still working on that goal of getting 600 people at Member Plus and above. So if you got a gifted member or you're paying for your own membership, consider upgrading. It's $1 more. It's $6 a month. You get into extra content, and a lot of the times we're going to be doing those green rooms or those gameplay sessions or behind the scenes stuff just for Member Plus and above. Writer's Room continues to feel like it should be Member Plus and above, but for now, we're running it this way. I'm going to end the previous stream and bring folks over with redirect. And then I'm going to change the thumbnail because we're no longer live.